Uh, Better. Okay. Me better than Samira. So Samira, say something again.
Okay.
Speak a bit up, maybe.
Okay, so I jump right into it. We will talk about our trip. So we are Rolf and Samira. We traveled for 6 months with our couples. You maybe saw them running around here somewhere. And it was from November to April. And we will tell you about our experience behind with traveling and working with 2 young children. And we will talk about the mindset, about childcare models, holidays and places to go with children, about where to live, how to travel, and
So our trip started in Australia, where we stayed 1 month. We had some holidays there, so no working. And after that, we went to Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand mainly, and spent 5 months there. Yeah. Okay. No,
okay.
it's not a mic. That's the problem. Okay, say something again.
Okay. So we met a guy who traveled with his family, 4 children,
Now
and
it's
a
ready.
wife for 1 year. He was working, his wife wasn't, so this was a slight difference. But all in all, for me, it was a good motivation, and I was looking forward to our trip after this talk. And then, of course, you need a remote job. Otherwise, you can't travel and work at the same time. And it should be allowed by if you are employed. And it's probably best also if you work part-time and not full-time. So for me, I'm employed and I work always remotely. So for me, it was not a difference in work. And my boss agreed that I can go on a trip like this. And I lowered my pension from 60 to 40% in order to be able to really do all of my work and not to fall behind with my work.
Yeah. Same for me. I also reduced a bit for my work. I can work from everywhere since a couple of years already. And yeah, that's also what we did. In 2016, we were traveling for 1 year around and working. It was way easier without the children, to say that. But yeah, it all depends about how you prepare.
Yeah, you can say if you are prepared once, like for the whole trip, the better prepared you are, the easier it is. We are more the people who go with the flow. So you travel. Yes, also we traveled with hand luggage. As you can see, this was the amount of luggage we had, or at least a part of it. This was my luggage, for example. If you travel with hand luggage, we did it before. It's the best you can do. With children, it's a bit more of a challenge, but it works. So it's absolutely possible to do. And of course, if you want to work, you need some occupation of the children. We try probably every model you can. If you know another one, we don't.
Oh yeah, please.
So the first one was we tried to hire an au pair. We tried to find someone. It didn't work out. We tried to find someone in Australia. It didn't work out. In the end, we had someone who joined us here for 2 days from Byron Bay to Brisbane. And in Brisbane, she said, it's too much for me.
Too hard with the children.
Too exhausting. And she went back to Byron Bay, and we were again at square one.
Yeah, the next model we tried was with a nanny. In Thailand especially, they are known for having the good nannies and everything. So yeah, we had Finn. She was wonderful the first like 2 or 3 days, but then she was fully booked for the rest of December because everyone wanted to travel then. So we tried with a lot of other nannies, and of course it was always hard. I mean, if you need to occupy 2 small children from 8 to 6 in the evening, it's really hard. It's yeah. So most of the nannies, they ended up giving them the iPad. So that's also something we can do. But nevertheless, they also had some fun with the legs and stickers, and they made good yeah, friendships also.
So like we took more steps with the turns, like of 3 hours. Someone took care of the girls, the other was working, and then we changed again. It's also a very good model, but of course it's only possible if you work part-time. Otherwise, it's a bit too challenging, I would say.
Yeah, but this was really nice also to spend some time with the children, of course, and get to know each other better.
And when we went to kids cafes, this is something of the thing.
Yes.
Southeast Asia, they have many places like this, which is absolutely known there. Unlike here, these are cafes where you can eat food like a restaurant, but with a playground. You can work there. The kids, they can't run off because there's someone at the gate, at the door, and taking care of them and seeing that they don't leave. They have a lot to do there, so it's not boring for them. Tell a story about the ball pits. Of course, you have to wear socks when you go in such a playground. And where do the kids take off their socks? In the ball pit, of course. And I'm sure there are still laying some socks around there from us, so because you don't find them anymore.
We also had some fun. When I took a break, I just go to them in the ball things and play with them. So that was really nice.
In Australia, they also had like restaurants with cabins like this, or still like extra rooms where the children could play and you can have your meal. It was also nice. It was like the first experience we had with this kind of occupation. And the best model, of course, for us was daycare or kindergarten and kita. It's best if your children already are used to it. So if they're here, you can try that they go somewhere else as well. And it also helps if they are not alone. And for example, we visited in Ho Chi Minh. They made hairstyles. Every day the girls had different hairstyles, which was a lot of fun. Only them had, the Vietnamese children didn't. Something else, children in Southeast Asia, when they go to kindergarten, they already have like classes. They learn something like the alphabet, for example, or the weekdays or whatever. Our girls still learn there quite well. So I was really impressed.
They are now fluent in English and Thai. Yeah, we also did some holidays first. As I mentioned, in Australia, we traveled 1 month. And we also give here some tips how to deal or occupy the children. Of course, it's a lot of going into the nature, and there were a lot of nice water parks where they could play for hours. And of course, also the weather is nice in Australia in our winters. That's also a reason we went there. Yeah, we did some sightseeing. Great ocean roll. Also, beach time is always perfect with the children.
So every experience we went to, it's always nice. And of course, like water parks, this was in KL, or like playing in the sand.
Yeah. And if everything fails, you still have the washing machine TV. That's also good for the children. Or if better are some aquarium and fish.
Museums, if they are child friendly, works as well.
Also chocolate works. That was a Mövenpick hotel. And when we had a pool, that also helps a lot with the children, of course.
And also playgrounds. In Asia, we had many playgrounds. This summer we were in Porto. There was one really more of a crappy one in the center. So Porto is not recommended with small, in my opinion. But better they had playgrounds as well. So like here in Kuala Lumpur was.
So where did we find these places? Obviously, Google Maps is always a good option, but then a lot of places are only mentioned in Facebook groups or are like mouth-to-mouth recommendations from other people. In Southeast Asia, they use a lot of Facebook to plan and organize everything. So please make sure to go into these groups, like usually city with children, something, and then you find these.
So where did we live? So we knew about where we wanted to go, in what areas, and then we Googled if childcare and
was the first thing, not the place.
And then we decided when we had a place for childcare, we were searching around this area very close by where we can live. So if it's a hotel or an Airbnb or apartment.
Yeah. So because it's not too easy to find some childcare who take the children for 2 weeks only, or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Most of them have longer periods where you have to bring your children.
Nevertheless, it's unlike here. So here it's much more difficult.
By the way, before you dive into the hotel, Lawrence, this was the place you're supposed to meet us in Bali. Yeah, unfortunately, he could not make it. So, yeah.
So the advantages of staying in a hotel, when you have like a breakfast, it's easier. You don't have to organize it, of course. And we always try to book hotels with a pool, so you have something to play there as well, because they don't have children toys, and we didn't bring a lot. And in my opinion, if you travel with kids, if you stay in apartments, because you have several rooms where you can stay, so they have their own room to sleep, you have a living room, and you have a kitchen where you can cook your meals. And for children it can be very exhaustive to go out every night and to eat in a restaurant. So it's better if you can cook at home. It's more of a or family lifestyle instead of traveling.
Yeah, how did we travel? So we, of course, flew a lot, but we also had other means of travel. But the best was always the hand luggage only. We needed to change our stroller to one of these models, so we can bring it into the plane, because I think in Bangkok, we waited almost an hour for our oversized luggage that we had to give in. That was not so ideal. And of course, you also bring something for the children, like this, what's the name? Baby thing, where you can also have 2 children at once. And yeah, we had 2 backpacks, some stuff for the children, and then also the trolley or carry-on stroller. And you can also use that as a stroller occasionally.
Mostly it was plane, of course, because of the distances. That we sit together. So sometimes it happened that we made the I would say it again.
Yeah.
Sitting somewhere else.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, we did not pay for seats. So they booked the children like 5 rows ahead of us, and we were like, okay, let's see what they say when they sit there alone, and we have some calm. But yeah, it was not that the problem, the long flights, mainly due to the entertainment. iPad is really good option, or also some candies and stuff that always went really well.
We also did an overnight train ride from Ho Chi Minh to Da Nang. This was also a fun experience for all of us. This was the rice fields close to Memon. And in Australia, we used the car to travel around next to airplanes.
Yeah, that was also nice. Oh, I thought it's starting earlier, but ja. Lorenz, gehst du schnell raus schauen? Vielleicht ist jemand oben.
So,
Yeah.
And on every they have board entertainment. You want to have yours with you, your and phone charged. Also something if you don't travel with kids, so
Yeah.
you can use it. So you have your own board with you.
Yeah, we also try to mix the work and travel and sightseeing and everything. That also meant in Southeast Asia or in Australia, we needed to work at night when the children were in bed. But on the other hand, we also had plenty of free time, and maybe you see the children in the background somewhere. That's how we could do the wine tasting. That's the number one method is the iPad. That's no joke, right? We also went to the 42 islands in Thailand or did some cooking classes. Also, who can spot the children?
And yes, so for challenges, it can be very overwhelming, and you have to be aware that if you travel with kids, it will be exhausting at some point. So it's more stress for everyone, and you will feel it. So yeah, be aware of this, but you can deal with it. So possible or with Uber Eats or that.
It was also hard for us, of course, because we stick together for 24 hours mostly. And that's, the me time, where you go, how to split the time, that's challenging as well.
But always take time to plan it and do it, because it's important for your stress level that it's lower, that you can deal with the whole situation a bit better.
And that was the same, of course. Not too much time for us. That's when the children were in the kindergarten. That's where we did some sightseeing instead of working. And also that was in a good place here in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh, at the very high.
It's the highest building of Vietnam.
Yeah.
A nice restaurant.
Yeah.
We did a short trip, so when possible, we did trips without the children when they were close by. This was also in Da Nang, Bana Hill, like a castle on top of the mountain. A bit strange. But...
Yeah, we also met friends along the way from Switzerland, actually, or from everywhere on the world. This is Andrin. He's also doing our catering today. That will be very nice. And the catering is also a bit cut to the speeches today. And here we met some friends from the Nomad cruise, Austrian guys or other people we met earlier. They just randomly wrote, "Oh, I see on Facebook you're there," and then we met up. That was really nice. Yeah. So challenges,
Duration was probably the hardest challenge. We realized 6 months. Us, it was too long. When the girls are older, it will work better. But now it was rough. It was too much. So if you have the chance to go back earlier, if you go on a trip and it's too long, you can go back. Place to stay.
yeah, we subletted our apartment. Yeah, the other thing is health issues. Here we were in Bali, like 1 hour or 2 hours from a hospital away, and lucky enough they had doctors on the like they come to your hotel, but in the night usually you don't find like a hospital near. And we have been to a hospital a lot with the children as we did here. It's the same problem everywhere, but mostly it was me who was sick. That was some bug in Bali, Bali belly, yeah, for those who have been there.
Be prepared.
Yeah, also dentist something, but really easy and fast and cheap, and that was it. Really good.
The culture can be also a challenge, like in everything, language, how it sounds, for young children, for you as well, if you are not used to it. Like here in Vietnam, it happens you want to take pictures of the girls.
Yeah, blonde hair.
It was very she was in the focus of everyone, and this is something it's probably just beforehand how you want to deal with it when people take pictures of your children, so that you can act accordingly. And we didn't. So we were or not, and sometimes we said something, and then we said, yeah, okay, you can take a picture, but it's all about it. So.
Yeah, and of course the planning was not so easy. We were also a bit in COVID, not that much, but also there were still some rules in place. Some places, I think, or at least you need to check, and also to get a mobile plan so that you can work if there is no Wi-Fi. But usually these are the normal Nomad things you need to know. And yeah, also for the children, the age was maybe a little bit too young. I don't know.
On the other hand, if you travel when they are in school, you have to do homeschooling, which is a challenge. And in our case now, where they're like really small, like
that's perfect.
Better.
Like 1 year old, not able to walk and stuff. That's perfect for going on a trip.
We did as well with Ella when she was 1 year. We went to Cape Town.
Yeah.
We also, when she was 8 months old, we went to the United States for 3 weeks. And it was easier there.
Yeah. Yeah, there were also advantages.
Yes.
Of course, the typical view, usually it would be on a beach, but nobody works on a beach. It's just not possible. And yeah, of course, for the children, they learned new languages, made new friends, new culture. That was really amazing for them. There were, of course, a lot of food and stuff to try out. And yeah, for us, it was cool because when you work like there at a holiday destination, you are there. So if you close with work at 5 p.m. or whatever, you can just go out and enjoy the weather and everything.
Yeah, also relationship wise, so it brings you closer, of course. If you like yourself or like with your kids 24/7, it's unlike if you are back home. And of course, the weather in Southeast Asia, we so for us it was perfect there. And also the girls, they really liked it. So going to the warm ocean when we go to the swim, they don't want to go in the water, it's too cold. As a summary, I'd say the most important thing will be traveled before, and now you have children. Don't let you take them away the wanderlust. Go with your children into the adventure, try it out, see how it works. If it's something for you, if not, you have to try it again. So it's also possible to travel with children. You can go to a place and be back. Time.
Yeah, we noticed that some places where we stayed only 2 or 3 weeks, we would not stay another day. right? And other places that were perfect, we can imagine staying for 3 months. So that's also good.
Yeah. Next time we will go on a short trip, so 1 to 3 months maybe, to try out, but we don't have plans yet to go on the next one, so we will see what it will be. It will be with homeschooling probably.
Yeah, and the work was probably the easiest one in the whole story here. So when the children were in a kindergarten or childcare, and there was plenty of workplaces, cafes, co-working spaces. Of course, you know how that works, and that was really easy, and so we could do some nice work too. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for being here. And we do have some Q&A for 3 minutes, maybe, Lorenz, and more than at apero and lunch dinner. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
We tried.
Yeah, the question was how we choose the duration for the online people. They did not hear him, sorry. And yeah, the duration is a topic, yeah.
So I think it depends highly on where you go, because I mean, for example, we went to Vietnam. I was there 12 years ago. I didn't like it at all. Now it was, besides Australia, the best country we went to. So that was a surprise. And for example, Da Nang with children is absolutely great. You can do a lot of things. Also, Ho Chi Minh had the most beautiful children cafes to go to. So it was really cool. And there we could imagine staying longer than 2 weeks. We stayed 2 weeks each. And we can easily stay longer. Otherwise, in Malaysia, we stayed 2 weeks, and that was too long. So
and in terms of with the children, of course, the longer the better, because you need to organize everything. You need to see where they can go. You need to settle in a place. So maybe 4 weeks is a good thing. 4 to 8 weeks would be a perfect spot. Maybe 1 or 2 places. At least for us, that would have been perfect. Yeah. Yep. I can. Yes. So the question, yeah, you see it all in the chat actually. Yeah, for those who are online. If we were planning the trip before, partly yes. So the flights and everything you need to have like quite in advance, I would say, and also the rough location where to go. But then hotels, we decided really like 1 month in advance maybe. And also, if you have 2 small children, you don't put them into the bookings.com or the hotels.com reservation because then you need to book 2 rooms or a huge family room. So we just showed up, booked a normal double room with some extra beds, and that was fine. And also accepted in Southeast Asia.
But we also changed our minds. For example, we wanted to go to the Philippines first as well. So for 1 week, we booked the flights, and then I looked up what they say on the EDA page, and we decided, no, it's too dangerous. We don't want to go. So we canceled everything and went to KL instead. So it's good if you stay flexible. Yeah. Even if you have like planned out something, if it doesn't work, change everything. It doesn't matter.
Okay, Lorenz, do you want to say something about there's not a break, there's the next?
No, we just jump into the next, and I have some candies for you. Just a second, please.
Do the online people hear Lorenz speaking now?
Oh, I'm unmuted now.
I answer them now, yeah, because we are also with time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
From
Ladies first. Yeah.
That's from Bear.
Thank you.
And there's Jens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, I hope the audio quality is not too bad for the online audience.
Yeah, it was a
okay.
problem. Yeah, and now it's. Do you hear Lorenz? Can you quickly give a thumbs up or so?
Can you hear me? At Zoom, it's okay? Okay, thank you very much. Was an echo. Still an echo. Better like that? Probably it's because of the other mics. I just better.
Genau, da hast du mich gesehen.
Jetzt gehört es.
Okay.
Okay. Und da share.
Genau.
Gut, gibt es mit hergegangen. Zack. Okay.
Okay, we just let them sort out
sound test.
the technical and then we are you ready?
Sound test for the online people. Can you hear me?
Ich höre mir immer noch selber.
Okay, not good. Not good.
Good. So do you
Too many mics are open. Yeah.
Online community.
Still echo because I'm on as well.
Okay. Okay. Is everybody muted?
Ik höre nog hier. Okay. Test ist zu. Hört man mir? Yes, good. Okay, that sounds good. Great. Yeah, I still have to prepare. No worries. Yes, I'm ready. I hope so.
Okay, please welcome Syba. She is a workation enthusiast and service designer. Ask her what she's doing as a service designer. I don't know exactly. Community builder and responsible for team retreats, workations, and the office caravan at Mia Enchadina. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, you guys. Yeah, hello. Also from my side, I'm very, very excited to be here, actually. Oops, ik hoor me op mijn laptop. So, sorry for that. Some technical issues. I hope I can inspire you today. That sounds like a very, very fancy title. Thank you for that, Lawrence. Well, you may have noticed that I wasn't planned to be here today as a speaker. I planned to be here as just to sit there and listen and get inspired myself. But now today, you know, sorry, Lawrence actually texted me on Monday afternoon. It's like, you know, somebody canceled. Would you like to do it? And I think I responded with, yeah, why not? But am I qualified for this here with all you experts in this room? And this is actually really my standard response to any kind of request. I say yes first, and then I think like, am I even capable of doing that? And then I just have to make it work. So good luck with that today with me. So yeah, I also deep dive into many adventures in my private life, but also in my work life on a daily basis. And so I was wondering, and I think Lawrence assured me on that, I am actually probably very much qualified to be here and to talk about this topic. So you will be able to let me know at the end if that's actually true or not, but we'll see. So first, let me see if that works. Yay. You need to know a little bit more about me before I'm going into some example and what I'm actually doing. So my name is Syba, as you may see. It's actually Sybille, but except my mother, nobody's calling me like that. So Syba is fine. Am I a digital nomad? Well, yes and no. It depends how you interpret it. At least not international anymore. I used to be a flight attendant for 10 years. So I know the struggles of family traveling very well. And this meant also that there were very strict rules about how to do my hair, how long my skirt is allowed to be. There is a procedure and a checklist for about every move we do in the cabin when we are working. And everything was strictly regulated. And so now I deep dive into, about 2 years ago, I deep dived into those topics like new work, workation, team retreats, office caravan, but also co-working. And all those were completely new fields to me. So I didn't really know much about that. I also want to get, once again, I just said yes. I just did it somehow. So now I'm still traveling, but more within the borders of Switzerland, less internationally anymore, and maybe few travels within Europe. In private life, I also try to combine my work because I can travel freely, mostly, depending on the project I'm working. I can work wherever I want, however I want. So I try to combine that with visiting friends and family. My family is from Fribourg. I live in Zurich. I work in the Engadin. So lots of traveling with me all the time. And yeah, I am now, in comparison to before when I was a flight attendant, where I had to be at a certain time and a certain amount at a place, now I can do whatever I want. And in the beginning, I have to be honest, that was a struggle, because if for 10 years you did everything by the books and suddenly like do whatever you want, that is not that easy. So I had also to find out a little bit my balance. I had to find out what kind of working person am I, how can I organize my daily routine. And I noticed that home office is not really doing it for me, because as a human being, I get stuck in routines and you think, okay, I have to do the laundry and I have to do that. And I work, you get up at 8 and you finish at 5. And somehow that wasn't for me. So I started to do workations myself to find out as a human being, how do I want to work? What is good for me? What is healthy for me? And how can I work my best? So, yeah. So here you see, actually, this is me working at my best, I think so, because I love to do outdoor meetings. How it comes to that, I will let you know later on. So I currently work for, I'm working for Mia and Jadina. Don't know if you've heard about it. This organization tries to develop and to connect the people in the Engadin, guests as well as locals and second home owners. We try to develop the Engadin as the third place of Switzerland. That means, in other words, as the workation and team retreat destination of Switzerland. That sounds super far-fetched. It is. We are far away from that, far off. But this is my job to try and to do this and develop it together with many other partners and the destinations and so on. So for an example, what we did already for the Engadin, because we really tried to give it a lot of good infrastructure for remote people, we brought fiber internet, high-speed internet into the valley, because the official governments were not really doing something in that way. So we brought it. So there is actually now a very good infrastructure. We also create a co-working space. This is the co-working space in La Punt. It is very, very beautiful. That's actually the view. We are just right to the cross-country slopes in the Engadin. You can just go on lunchtime for half an hour. It's beautiful. And now it sounds like a promotion, but it's really nice there. This is not working. That is the challenge of digitalization. So what is happening? Let me quickly check. I have internet. Everything is here. Okay, sorry. We also have another beautiful space, but it's not showing at the moment. So we will go on to the next one. Next slide. You can come and have a look afterwards, but also the one in Squall is very, very beautiful. I can highly recommend that. So Too early for that. Yeah, we'll look at this one while I'm still talking. It's like that. So we have started to promote the topic of new work in the Engadine, in the mountain region of Engadine. You all know and live new work. I think otherwise you wouldn't be here today, or at least you have a concept of it. And in my opinion, digital nomads know their individual needs and how they want to run their daily work life the best. However, many employees are still far away from that. Most of the people, even after COVID, even with all the technological possibilities we have today, they still stick to their 9-to-5 routine. You do whatever you have. I think personally, this is also a leadership problem, but I do not want to get into that today. So for me, it's a blessing to be here actually and to discuss those topics with people who actually understand and moreover live that. You can imagine how interesting it is when I try to do that in the Engadine, in the mountain regions in Switzerland, when I try to convince local actors, but also destination management, how important new work models are for the future of their region. Yeah, it's a big part of my job. It's not easy. Sometimes I even have to explain what the fuck a co-working space is. It is, yeah, it never gets boring. So we had once, this is my favorite story, I love to tell it. Unfortunately, it was not the last time I was asked this, but the first time I had to laugh so hard, it was hard for me to explain. There was a group, actually a guided group, which came to our co-working space here in La Punt. And I tried to explain them what we do, what the concept is, why people come here, it's beautiful, it's another perspective and everything. And at the end, there was the guy in the group and it's like, and what are you producing here? It's like a physical product. What is coming out? It's like, you know, everything. It's a computer. You can do much. But I didn't explain it to him very well. Probably he didn't understand what we are doing there. So yeah, these are my daily struggles I have. So yeah, trying to explain all these great perspectives, how great it is to change perspective and enjoy new location and new places is sometimes not that easy. And the mountain regions of Switzerland, as well as the people live there, they're not necessarily famous for embracing change. Yeah, so this is my daily life at the moment. So, but I'm not here to talk about the hurdles of my job. There is another reason why we are doing what we are doing. So we try to develop new work offers in the Engadine. Because it is, the Engadine at the moment is a playground for a much bigger project. It's called the InHub. It is a large co-working, co-living, innovation and sports center. We will start building it up, hopefully, inshallah, next year. Should have started 3 years ago. You know, we say it every year, next year we will start building it. The InHub, it is a 7,000 square meter space filled with opportunities for work, creativity, innovation, collaboration, but it is also called the new Dorfzentrum, so where people meet, their shops. It is also for locals, it is for guests, it's for digital nomads, for companies, for teams, etc. So here, this is actually Norman Foster. So Norman Foster is a star architect. He also has a nice little house in La Punt. That's why he is also creating this together with us. So this is how it might look in a couple of years when we are seriously. Okay, not all the images are there today. So you can see that it's very bright. It's wood. The wood is actually from the region of the Engadine, so it should be also sourced locally, everything as much as possible. So I really don't know why this is not working at the moment. That is good idea. Let's try that. So if it works, then we'll be. Oh yeah. Thank you. Good tip. Thanks. So now you can also see our space in Tschopp, and this is the view directly from the space. I absolutely adore to work there. This is the InHub, as I mentioned before. Here you see bright wood and bright light and cooperation. It's really nice. Oh yeah, there it works. So why is this all relevant for you as digital nomads? I regularly also organize workations in the Engadine. Here you see a few pictures of how that could look like with local partners here with the Hotel Saraz in Pontresina. They have a huge park where we also put the office caravan there. And we do this at, around 4 times a year, depending a little bit. This is just for individuals. We also organize a lot of workations for teams, but this is another topic. So, and this is how it looks like. Sometimes when we do workation, we love food and drink, but we also try to, we did some cooking classes, we did some sgraffito training, of course, lots of local sports and everything. So it's really, really nice. This is a mix of different workations we already did. So just this week, actually, I just came back yesterday evening at 11 o'clock from the Engadine because I had a workation, which I was doing, I organized it. And in the beginning of the week, a friend of mine, he also joined me and he said like, you know, the weather's great, let's go with the tent. And I already booked a hotel room. I said like, yeah, of course. I arrived at night at the camping ground. I also missed the digital Nomads camping workations. I figured, yeah, let's do that. I arrived, it was -1 degrees. And that, it dawned to me a little bit like, was that a good idea? It was refreshing though, but still it was really, really cool. It was an unbelievable experience also here. Sometimes you have just to go with the flow. It was great. What I also normally do when I organize workations, I just do stuff I would do anyway, or I want to try anyway. I'm from Fribourg, as I said. And there is a beautiful, the Alpe Misella. It's just like 1 hour walking. So it's perfect for after work. We hiked up. I took everything. I brought everything to the Engadine from Fribourg. Cheese from a friend of mine, wine, everything. And then we did a fondue up there. Beautiful little Alp, because whenever I saw that spot, I figured I want to do a fondue there. So this time I just forced the co-worker and the workationist to come with me and do that. It was great. Actually, we arrived when the sun came up. And then when we started eating, almost the full moon rised up on the mountain. So we had both. It was magic. It was really cool. At least the people told me that. So I don't know. I just enjoyed it. So, yeah, my advice generally, I mean, you digital nomads do that already, just do it. This is how I live my daily life. As a kid, we just do it naturally every day. We say yes, we try new things. As adults, sometimes we start to, you know, get more cautious of thinking of failure first before saying yes. And so speaking of just do it, this is really my baby. This is my heart's project. I love the office caravan. It gives me a lot of work. It's very, very cool, a cool project. So it's actually, for me, it's a digital nomad itself, because it's always there where it's needed at the most beautiful places. It's equipped with everything you need, like creative material, Wi-Fi, electricity, then, but of course, also lots of modular equipment and seats and tables and everything. You can change everything, open up everything. And of course, most important, coffee machine and fridge. You can place that almost everywhere. So we are here in the Engadine at the middle of nowhere. Up here we are at the Fachhochschule Ost in Rapperswil at the lake in the middle of Zurich. Mit dem Sprechen fertig. Ist gut. Okay, maybe I leave that here. So and maybe I touched it in my. So, okay, thank you for that. Sorry, completely lost my. Oh, so yeah, sorry. There we are. So, so actually, the office caravan asks a lot of flexibility and spontaneity of me. So, the first time when I took over this project, I didn't see it. I never saw it up close. They just asked me like, hey, you would be the person who likes to do that. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. And I didn't see it. And we got a call in March, similar to this situation here, like 9 days before the HR festival in Zurich. They called us, HR today, and said like, hey, this thing would be great. We still have a space available. Would you like to come? I said, yeah, we would. It is, I don't know if you know, the HR festival is very, very big human resource festival, all kind of exhibitors, hundreds of exhibitors. So we were really pleased we could go there. So the first time I actually noticed that I had no idea how to set it up and to open up was actually when it started in there in the hall, in the mess hall of Zurich. And I was there all by myself. I was like, I have no idea what I do here. Then I constantly have to repair something, but you know, I still love it. It is a very, very cool tool for teams to really get outside. Now everyone is remote working. You don't see each other as often as you used to be. Team building is a challenge, and this is just a great tool to do so. So when we actually went to the HR festivals, you also see some more pictures here, how it looks inside. You can open up, as I said, everything. You can use it inside and outside to stick. It's really, really creative. And when we were asked for the HR festival, what I didn't realize when I said yes is that actually it was still up in the mountains in our winter place, and there was too much snow to take it out. But we organized it. We made it happen actually. So here it got a little bit warmer, and we just used that one spot to somehow transport it. We have a great driver who is really a daredevil and tried to bring it down to Zurich. So yeah, the office caravan gets me out of my routine almost on a daily basis. Whatever happens with it, suddenly I get a call. We want to have it tomorrow on a spot right at the Lake of Zurich. I said, yeah, did you even ask if you're allowed to place it there? It's like, no, we saw it on Google Earth. Like, okay, probably not happening then. Yeah, and it will be next week. We will come back down to Rapperswil to the University of Applied Science. It's a great spot. Whenever the weather is good, I will go there. I will use it as an office myself. I will actually work outside, because also the students can then come and they could work and use it, and also everyone who is interested. And whenever I'm there and in the sun, whatever struggles I used to have with it, it's just melted away. And I just still love that project very, very much. So, so this is probably the quintessence of whatever I've just told you until now. I love what I'm doing, whatever struggle it is. I think it says the same to your voyage you just did, or your travels with your kids. At the end, it's still big fun. It's lots of learning, lots of experience. If you love what you're doing, you will always make it happen somehow. And this is also the digital nomads lifestyle. I mean, it's exactly the mindset of embracing change. And if you're traveling, probably you already have challenges. But if you're traveling, I mean, there are strikes, there are delays, there are different cultures, different language, misunderstandings, bad weather. So traveling already is a challenge. But traveling as a digital nomad, as they said, is another challenge, because you need stable internet. Stable internet, you need a workspace where you can actually work. So I have also a great fun fact about that. So although the struggle is already real for digital nomads at the moment, there is a Swiss platform for apartments, for holiday apartments, or also workation, whatever. And they decided to put in a filter, workation, so that you have the optimal with good high-speed internet and whatever you need for your vacation. But it turns out they just did it in for a statistic reason. So at the end, when you clicked on it, you got just random apartments which were not suitable for workations, actually, which didn't even have internet sometimes, just so they know if people are actually interested or not. This also shows how Switzerland is getting ready for the future. Sometimes just let's check if someone is interested, and then we deal with it, maybe or maybe not. I love it. Best story. So let's quickly circle back. I come to the end. This was the title of this is actually the title of mine. So embracing change and unleashing potential. I think, yeah, as my constant attitude is saying yes. Did that always help me? No. But you learn very fast and you grow fast with that. So, I mean, I just take the fast track instead of doing it slowly and steady. So I hope I inspired you today to do that too a little bit. As I said, as children, we just try and we just do it. As adults, sometimes we forget that. But as digital nomads, I hope you just start doing your dreams and go and travel wherever you want. And also for the subtitle, Inspire and Lead. I think one of the best parts of my job is that I can inspire other people, individuals and teams to find out for themselves, how would I like to work? How can I build up a healthy workspace for me, a healthy work routine? And this is probably one of the funnest part of my job. Here, I'm coming to the end in case you have questions or feedback. I would be very happy for feedback too, because this is the first time I'm doing such kind of speech. And if you want to connect with me, you can also, of course, ask questions. I'm here the whole day. And to just close my speech, I would like to say it in the words of a very famous campaign, never stop exploring.
Yeah, thank you very much, Syba. You saved us. I mean, we had a cancellation, and Syba, with a lot of. Thank you very much. And we have. This is for you. Oh, yeah. You changed from the tent to the stage, and maybe you need some food. Thank you very much.
Please, I can break. Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we do a small break here, and that means 30 minutes.
If I set something up now, I'm not until the end, but does it make it easier for you?
To set up now. Okay. You can.
So I can do that.
Yes. What do you have?
You tell me what's easier.
That would be a good idea. You can also listen along. Set up our stuff. Yeah, we have the sponsors, right?
Yeah,
Three
when we have
sponsors
just
after the
3
break.
minutes.
Yes.
And maybe if Patricia is not here, we will jump directly in the 15 minutes part. But we have the 15 minutes part
Sponsor
here.
part.
Yes, sponsor part.
Is this not at the end somewhere?
It's at the end. Because
you want to.
Patricia ist nicht da.
Du hast es vorholen.
Sie hätte die ganze Viertelstunde machen, wenn sie weg. Oder wir überspringen das und machen ein bisschen länger Pause. Weil dann bringt es nichts, wenn nur jemand anfängt und dann noch recht. Weißt du, wie ich meine?
Ja, die Frage ist, 16:30 bis 17 bist du dann da und nachher, ja, da könnte man auch schon noch, weißt du, das ist im Fall nicht schlecht, dann machen wir dann einen kurzen nochmal Break, Viertelstunde, das ist super. Und wir nehmen den für, ja, wenn sie ready sind und so, ja, 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 das wäre fantastisch, genau.
Die Viertelstunde, dann
ja.
gehen wir weiter.
Genau.
Das wäre eigentlich, weil Patricia nicht da ist. Ich rede schnell mit Johannes.
What kind of keyboard?
Oh, sorry, here
It's a star. I just ate here. Yeah, here we go. That's so funny.
I know. Okay, I cannot do Canva and do something else if it's easier.
Yeah, you can. You need to open Zoom. You should find the link. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, exactly. You mute the speaker. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you unmute the mic.
I think what we will do is we'll go from our phones also on Zoom and just use the mic there. This will be off always.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's good. And also here it's important to have the volume down on your phone, so you hear. I mean, usually you don't hear anything because you're the only one who's speaking. But you hear us and Fanny. You hear each other.
I'll try to do it from the laptop because I don't have battery in my phone.
Yes, that's
the
fine.
Laptop
is absolutely fine. Okay. You start the meeting. You share your presentation. You make sure that you only have the mic not muted, but the speaker is muted somehow.
Okay, yes, the speaker muted.
Yeah.
Obviously your connection
not.
Okay.
But I think it will not be a problem because you are alone speaking, so you don't hear anyone.
Perfect.
Of course, I will also help you when we switch presentation then.
Perfect.
But it looks good. Also, try to
Is it easier
launch.
Yeah.
Did you share screen with Zoom once?
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Samira, she needed. You also have a Mac. Yeah, so you have shared a presentation because at her Mac it was the first time she shared, and then you need to give permission on your Mac, and this is hidden somewhere. The green one, and yeah, that looks good.
Yeah. Screen.
Perfect. Yeah.
I can just. Yeah, I guess I can make this connected.
Yeah, you share that, and then you start your presentation, and yeah, cool. Yeah, it's a bit a mess with the online, and yeah. Yeah.
Technicalities until you do.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. C'est la vie. You're from Ireland. Okay, yeah. That's the accent. It's not too bad. I can actually understand you. Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Das ist mit dem Pascal abgesprochen.
Wir machen nachher 4 Tage haben wir noch 5 bis 4 Tage gibt es eine kurze Pause, ganz kurz, und dann machen wir noch eine halbe Stunde Podiumsdiskussion und nachher werden wir eben jetzt schon der Office, weil wir genau, für den Caterer, ist jetzt auch kochen. Das ist ja auch so vorbereitet. Wenn du schon irgendwie da bist, kannst du noch schon sagen, aber jetzt genau. Wenn Fragen sind, ja.
Also wenn es wieder wegkommt,
ja. Hallo, ciao.
Nein, zuerst mal. Hast du eine Minute?
Ja, sicher. Ich muss noch schnell irgendwo etwas zu trinken. Aber weißt du was? Dann kommt das.
Ich will ja noch ein Follow-up.
Ja, klar.
Das ist mal super. Geil. Also ich finde das ja.
Mega so cool. Ja.
Genau, das ist der Radio angestellt und das Problem oder die Schwierigkeit ist auch, wenn man in der Firma angestellt ist, sind die ja reguliert. Wenn man eine gewisse Zeit im Ausland ist, dann kann man das Problem Was?
We were just genau die Frage, ja.
Das ist noch das andere, ob wir das Chatprotokoll noch bekommen. Das ist noch spannend.
Das meiste ist einfach, I can't hear you, I can't hear you.
Aber nicht so als Angestellte eben.
Ja,
Genau.
also erstens, wenn du einen an, aber ich bin völlig egal, oder?
Also, ist es wirklich?
We just arrived late.
Hey.
And she's asking to register her.
Yeah.
What would you...
My name is Megan.
Megan, there's somewhere with the name tags.
Yeah, just to make sure that it's like just wandering in off the street.
I can check you in right here somewhere.
I know you're on a break right now, and then there's another few hours. So just like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah. We started, at 2. Yeah.
At 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We do have it on.
Recorded?
Yeah, recorded.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Megan. No.
Yeah. M-E-G-A-N.
M-E-G. Megan.
Here, I can show you my...
Oh yeah, maybe it's easier to scan. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Whatever. I only see one checked-in person here, so it's probably wrong. Genau, sonst ist es einfach die 160 Tage, nein, 100, das ist Halbjahr 108.
Ja,
Sollte ja nicht an einem Ort sein, was ist wieder richtig. Aber meistens kannst du ja sowieso nicht mit dem Visum, oder?
Is it from the Digital Nomads?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
It's about frog something.
Yeah, event frog, right. Yeah, I should have it here somewhere. Yeah.
I purchased a ticket.
Okay.
It was 65. It was 20 for the membership. It's like 65.
When did you purchase it?
3 weeks ago.
Okay. Did you receive a confirmation? Or do you have the payment like confirmation somewhere? Then it's good. Because I can find you here and
Okay.
maybe you didn't go through or something. Or...
Maybe.
So we can. That's only a newsletter.
I can look at my credit card statement so I can show you.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
And otherwise we do have rates. Yeah. you just need to pay again, but it's okay. Yeah. We do have. But if you can find it and see like tweet or whatever, then it's also good.
Use credit cards.
Okay. So I don't.
Also ich sage jetzt was. Hört man mich?
Ja.
Gott, Gott.
Also, okay, switch back to English. Welcome back. And we will go on with our main sponsor, fachausweis.online. We are very happy to have you as our main sponsor. It wouldn't be possible to organize a conference like that. Nobody is earning some money. It's all the money from you, and all the money from the sponsors is going to the Digital Nomad Association. And with that money, we finance co-workations, we finance the food there, we finance the 777 and the conference. So thank you very much for your funding for the community, for our association. And now we want to jump in your part. So that's just, let me see. Where are my notes? Over here, yeah. Fachausweis.online, flexibility in learning from any location to suit individual lifestyles. What does that mean? So we'll see. Thank you very much. Welcome on stage, Johannes and Stefanie.
Ja, hallo miteinander. Ich habe mir gedacht, ich mache die Präsentation auf Deutsch, weil Fachausweis doch sehr deutschlastig ist. Und ich freue mich, dass wir hier sein können. Also wir sind Johannes und Stefanie. Unsere Geschichte, die beginnt, ich weiß gar nicht mehr, irgendwann, und der Erik ist auch dabei. Unsere Geschichte, die beginnt, glaube ich, ungefähr 2018. Damals habe ich den Johannes eingestellt. Und zwar war ich die Leiterin von der höheren Fachschule Rheintal, also ein typischer Kantonsjob. Also ich war angestellt beim Kanton und war dort eben die Leiterin einer höheren Fachschule. Und mit dem ganzen Corona- und Homeschooling-Thema haben wir dann, als wir zurück mussten ins Büro, weil wir sind eine Präsenzschule, da habe ich gesagt, ich kann das nicht mehr machen. Also ich wollte das dann wirklich nicht mehr machen und dann habe ich gekündigt und irgendwann in dieser Zeit ist bei einem, ich glaube, bei einem gemeinsamen Sonntagsbrunch oder so, ist dann diese Idee von Fachausweis online entstanden. Was wir machen, ist höhere Berufsbildung und zwar komplett ortsunabhängig und nicht so, wie andere das auch machen. Man sieht das jetzt immer öfter, Präsenz oder online. Sie können auswählen und das sind wir nicht, weil was ich dann, ich bin auch noch in meiner Funktion zum Teil Leitexpertin vom SBFI und darf dann auch andere Anbieter auditieren. Und ich sehe dann halt, das sind dann so gestreamte Veranstaltungen. Das heißt, man kann einer Klasse und einem Dozenten oder einer Dozentin beim Schulegeben zusehen. Und das sind wir nicht. Und so möchte ich auch einsteigen, nämlich, was verbindet ihr mit Weiterbildung? Was gibt das euch für ein Gefühl?
Inspiration.
Mhm.
Weiterentwicklung.
Mhm. Ihr dürft auch die negativen Sachen sagen.
Nicht effizient.
Mhm. 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 Ich habe jetzt ein Bild dazu. Nee, noch nicht. Was macht er jetzt? Okay. Also, das ist so tatsächlich ein reales Bild von meinem früheren Arbeitgeber. Das ist im Prinzip das, wo die meisten auch noch in den Köpfen haben, wenn die an Weiterbildung denken. Die denken an Präsenzunterricht, die denken an dozentenzentriert. Der Dozent ist in der Mitte, ist die wichtigste Person auf diesem Bild. Es ist zeitlich fixiert, das heißt, da hängt auch eine Uhr drinnen, wo man schauen kann, wenn das Ganze endlich vorbei ist. Es gibt eine sehr altertümliche Infrastruktur, nämlich der Bildschirm ist aus und auf der Kreidetafel haben wir noch, die benutzen wir scheinbar. Es gibt eine Sitzordnung. Und dann müssen die in dieser Weiterbildung dann teilgenommen haben, müssen dann in so einem Umfeld funktionieren. Also das heißt, heute arbeitet man ja viel auch online und wir müssen dann im alten System werden wir aus- oder weitergebildet und müssen dann eben in so einem System drinnen funktionieren. Wir müssen digitale Kompetenzen haben. Wir müssen in Teams arbeiten, die oft auch heute sehr international und sehr divers sind. Wir müssen Eigenständigkeit beweisen. Wir müssen kreativ sein. Wir müssen agil sein. Wir müssen kommunikativ sein. Wir müssen auch flexibel sein. Und wir sollten uns doch bitte möglichst alles auch dann noch wieder selber beibringen. Also wir sollen uns selber weiterbilden. Das heißt, wir bilden in einem System aus, das mit dem System, wo wir dann eigentlich drinnen leben, gar nicht schon lange nicht mehr kompatibel ist. Wie können wir jetzt nicht nur in der beruflichen Weiterbildung, sondern zum Beispiel auch in einer Firma, im Unternehmen, wie können wir dort Lernen forcieren? Das gibt 4 Faktoren, nämlich Bedeutsamkeit, Selbstbestimmtheit, Kompetenz und Einfluss. Und was sind jetzt diese Faktoren? Also, Bedeutsamkeit. Bedeutsamkeit, da muss ich mir überlegen, ob ich einen Sinn finde in dem, was ich jetzt da lerne. Also wie wird das meine Zukunft zum Beispiel beeinflussen, den Inhalt, den ich da lerne? Habe ich das Gefühl, dass das relevant ist? Habe ich auch das Gefühl, dass ich in diesen Flow-Zustand komme? Also, dass Lernen für mich eigentlich gar nicht mehr irgendwie eine Arbeit ist, sondern dass ich das richtig gern mache. Und empfinde ich das Ganze auch als lohnenswert und wertvoll. Wie können wir jetzt das fördern bei Teilnehmenden, sei es jetzt in einer beruflichen Weiterbildung oder sei es in einem Betrieb? Wir können an eigenen Projekten lernen. Das heißt, für die berufliche Weiterbildung, wir müssen das überhaupt mal erst ermöglichen, dass die Teilnehmenden an eigenen Projekten lernen können. Im Unternehmensumfeld heißt das, wir müssen unseren Mitarbeitenden auch so viel Vertrauen entgegenbringen können, dass wir denen auch ein Projekt mal geben können, wo wir schon wissen, dass sie es nicht können. Aber sie können sich daran weiterentwickeln. Dann ist auch wichtig, dass die Teilnehmenden im Zentrum dieser Lernsettings sind und nicht die Dozierenden. Und dass das Ganze visualisiert werden kann, also dass diese Lernreise und auch die Erfolge, wie auch die Misserfolge, sichtbar gemacht werden können. Denn das Thema Selbstbestimmtheit. Irgendwie mag er nicht so. Na, jetzt ist er wieder zu weit. So, na, jetzt. Okay. Selbstbestimmt. Ich greife es nicht mehr an. Jetzt geht's. Warte, das ist schon richtig. Nein, nein, nein. Ah. Das ist wieder falsch. Warte, ich mache es jetzt aber. Ich lege ihn weg und mache es nur noch da. Also, Selbstbestimmtheit heißt, kann ich mir selber aussuchen, was ich lerne? Ich glaube, es stimmt schon. Ist das woher? Nein, das nicht. Ja. Habe ich die Wahl, was ich lerne und wie ich dabei vorgehe? Kann ich mein Lernen nach meinen persönlichen Präferenzen ausrichten und habe ich auch das Gefühl, dass ich eine Kontrolle darüber habe? Das heißt, einerseits eine Kontrolle kann ich selber aussuchen, aber andererseits auch eine Kontrolle über die Effizienz und über die Effektivität meines eigenen Lernprozesses. Also, dass ich zum Beispiel eine Prüfung machen kann oder dass ich irgendein Feedback von jemandem bekomme. Und das kann man eben auch so umsetzen, nämlich dass man zum Beispiel Reihenfolgen von Lerninhalten selber gestalten kann, dass man die Lernformen selber wählen kann. Will man ein Buch, will man ein E-Book, will man Videos, will man Podcasts? Dann auch wieder diese visuelle Darstellung von Lernpfaden. Oder was jetzt da in diesem Umfeld sehr wichtig ist, diese Lernzeiten und Lernorte auch komplett selber bestimmen können und zum Beispiel eben auch freiwillige laufende Lernzielkontrollen machen kann. Dann das Thema Kompetenz. Habe ich das Gefühl, dass ich diese notwendigen Fähigkeiten und Kenntnisse erreichen kann? Und habe ich auch diese bestimmte Zuversicht, dass mir diese Lernaktivitäten, die ich bekomme, dass die mich auch zu dem Punkt hinbringen, wo ich gerne hinkommen möchte? Und weiß ich, dass ich das Gelernte auch wirklich anwenden kann? Oder ist es halt eben nur Wissen aus Büchern? Und wie können wir das sicherstellen? Nämlich zum Beispiel durch direkte Feedbacks. Also das heißt, wir setzen zum Beispiel keine Dozierenden mehr ein, sondern wir setzen nur Mentoren und Mentorinnen ein. Bei uns gibt es keine Veranstaltungen, wo jemand zu einer bestimmten Zeit irgendwo vor dem Bildschirm sitzen muss und irgendjemandem zuhören zum Beispiel. Sondern bei uns machen wir das so, dass die Teilnehmenden können direkt mit den Mentoren auch individuelle Termine abmachen, wo sie dann auch direktes Feedback bekommen. Sie können also in einer Gruppe teilnehmen, Sie können sich selber zu Gruppen zusammenschließen und sagen, wir möchten gerne zu viert zusammenarbeiten, oder Sie können das auch total individuell machen. Und das war auch am Anfang so ein bisschen ein Knackpunkt, dass die Leute dann gesagt haben, ja, aber ich will euch gar nicht so einen Aufwand machen. Also ich will gar keinen individuellen Termin. Oder ich traue mich gar nicht, einen individuellen Termin jetzt ausmachen, weil ich habe das Gefühl, dass ich euch Aufwand mache. Ja, aber der zahlt ja dafür. Also unser Geschäftsmodell ist so ausgelegt, dass die das machen können. Und ganz wichtig sind bei uns eben diese Coachings, die persönliche Begleitung und auch dieses direkte Anwenden des Gelernten. Also zum Beispiel haben wir ein Modul Prozessmanagement, wo die Teilnehmenden wirklich die Prozesse in ihrem eigenen Unternehmen, am eigenen Arbeitsplatz anschauen und direkt verbessern. Also es gibt da nicht mehr diese Schulbuchaufgaben, sondern wir machen das wirklich direkt fast im Betrieb. Ja, ich bin gleich fertig. Also, dann habe ich das Gefühl, das Thema Einfluss, habe ich selber Einfluss auf meinen Lernprozess und kann ich über das Gelernte dann auch wieder Einfluss auf meine Umgebung ausüben. Wie machen wir das? Wir machen ganz viel Peer-to-Peer-Lernen. Wir sind die Mentoren oder wir sind nicht im Zentrum des Lernprozesses, sondern die Teilnehmenden gestalten die Lernaktivitäten. Und jetzt war das eigentlich, genau, jetzt ist die Frage, gibt es das überhaupt oder ist es nicht einfach nur irgendeine Utopie? Nein, es ist tatsächlich möglich. Und jetzt müsste, genau, durch unsere digitalisierten Prozesse, flache Hierarchien und sehr viel Berufs- und Branchenerfahrung können wir das so umsetzen. Wir haben nämlich ganz viele Dinge, die andere Weiterbildungsinstitutionen haben und die richtig Geld kosten, die haben wir nicht. Nämlich ein großer administrativer Apparat zum Beispiel, Riesengebäude, wo die Hälfte von der Zeit leer stehen. Das haben wir alles nicht. Und so können wir, indem wir im Prinzip unsere Produkte zum selben Preis verkaufen wie die anderen, können wir trotzdem sehr viel Individualität hineinbringen. Und ganz am Schluss möchte ich euch nur ganz kurz zeigen, was wir haben. Wir haben Fachausweise, zum Beispiel betrieblicher Mentor, zum Beispiel Digital Collaboration Specialist und so weiter. Alle von diesen sind auf unserer Webseite zu finden und die heißt ganz einfach fachausweis.online. Und da ist
Genau. Ich hoffe, man hört mich. Vielen Dank. Thank you very much, Stephanie and Johannes, for your speech and keynote, and thank you very much for sponsoring. We have the for you, one for you,
thank you,
and one for you. Thank you very much. And now we change to the next speech. No, first I have to say Syndicom is our second sponsor, a modern trade union active in the communications and media sectors. I think Patricia is not here today, Susanna. No, that's right. Okay, but thank you very much as well, Syndicom, for sponsoring our association together with fachausweis.online. Thank you very much. Now we change to the next keynote. Fanny and Has. Next, we're exploring the dynamic landscape of co-living. Our speakers, Fanny and Has, the founders of Escape. It was Swiss Escape in the beginning, no, the name? Then you rebranded it to Escape, are here to guide us through the nuances of this evolving lifestyle, especially in Switzerland and in Greece. Fanny and Has, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
we're just going to set up the communication here. But once it's up, I can do that. All right, we're going to start the presentation here. Can everyone hear me? Yes, online as well, everywhere. I'm going to move around as much as possible, just to keep it, keep the energy flowing here. So first and foremost, who has heard the term co-living? Wow, that's amazing. I don't need to teach you guys much. But this is not about teaching. It's about our experience, our story of what we have gone through. To be honest, this is wonderful to be here after so many years. We started our co-living space 7 years ago. We're back when Switzerland was just at the beginning of remote work. We had to educate people first what is remote work, where we are, which is in Greenlands, where we started, and then explain what's co-living. But I come from Dubai originally. I moved 12 years ago to Switzerland, to Lugano, actually. That's where we met, me and Fanny as well. And currently we are both the founders of Escape, which is a co-living brand in Switzerland and in Greece. At the same time, I also run a co-living hub, which is an association of co-living founders. So I'm also a consultant for other co-living operators. And Fanny here, she is also the ambassador of Women Entrepreneur Association, which is in Lausanne. She is the ambassador in Lausanne for Genuine Women Community. So like I was speaking about our story, students, really 12 years ago, that's me in the corner right there. Presenting something, but it was all about tourism. That's my background and her background as well. We went from tourism to trying to shape the different world of tourism. We imagined the slow tourism model. I was in business travel. I saw the unsustainable way of business travel. We were flying off to 3 days to Beijing for a meeting, and then 2 days in Sao Paulo and all across the world, but it was not sustainable. I never got to meet the locals. I never got to integrate with the community. And that's where we started thinking of how can we change that model, the tourism model as it is, to a more sustainable long-term stay model. And that's where we came up with the idea of co-living. And we now also organize co-living conferences. That's one in Las Palmas that happened in 2019. But in between all of that, what we did was we also joined an accelerator program in Lisbon, which is a program to help you get started with your business. That's where we learned from a lot of mentors on marketing, supply chain, finance, architecture, design, anything and everything. And we started our first co-living space in 2016 in Switzerland, in the town of Greenland. I'll tell you why Greenland in a bit. Then we also became full-time remote workers ourselves. So we're not just operators. We also are digital nomads ourselves. So we've traveled everything from Guatemala to Thailand, just like Rolf has mentioned. We actually met Rolf in Budapest the first time, wasn't it? So again, a lot of traveling. So we get to understand how our guests also feel while they are traveling. And today we also have a co-living space in Crete, in the island of Crete in Greece, and that opened in 2020. But we will talk about that. So Co-living, I mean, you guys all raised your hands. I see a lot of hands. You know what is co-living, but it's not a new concept, right? The whole idea of tribe living was there right from the beginning, but it was very much family oriented, this tribal approach. So we are taking that element of family and bringing it to people who are not related, who really just want to meet other people and have the feeling of home, the feeling of family. And that really is the essence of what co-living is. So that's our first space, Swiss Escape. We launched in 2016. We actually took a chalet. We have 2 properties now in Grimans. We converted an existing chalet into a co-working and a co-living space. And we chose Grimans specifically because Fanny here, she will speak in a bit as well and tell you. She's from Valais. This is in Valais. She grew up in this area, and her grandfather actually comes from there and was and she spent her time skiing there. So it just felt like the right place to start because it's a place that we knew best. We knew the locals, we knew the language and the place in itself. So it was much easier to find properties in Grimans. It is for those of you who don't know, this is in Valais in. If you know Zinal, Valdini area, so it's very close to Sierre, the town of Sierre, and we are located 2 minutes walk from the ski station. So a lot of people who come to our space love combining skiing in the morning and then working in the afternoon, whether it's winter, and then mountain biking or hiking with work in the summer and autumn period. And same thing goes with Greece. Greece, actually, we launched in 2020 with 2 properties. However, last year we switched to a newer property here, which is in the town of Plakias. It's in the south of Crete. Crete specifically enjoys a long summer because of its special location. At the same time, it is also, these properties are very new, and for us, it's a very good way to use these properties in winter periods because they are usually empty. So we take that model of repurposing properties when these properties are not used or insufficiently used. We have 2 villas totaling to 10 bedrooms in Greece. We can expand to over 17 bedrooms because there are 2 other villas that we can actually take on for bigger team retreats and things like that. But all the rooms here are ensuite rooms, except for 2, I think. Whereas Swiss Escape is mostly combined with shared bathrooms as well. Crete, as I told, it has low seasonality. So a lot of places in Greece close in winter because they are just a touristic island. However, Crete has an agricultural side to it, universities. So this island is always vibrant. There's always things happening. We actually went to Santorini last year in October. I went to a hairdresser in October there, and he's like, "This is my last week here, and then I'm gonna close." I'm like, so people don't cut their hair in winter? It's strange, but the island closes down, right? So that's why Crete is a better location for us to operate as well. Next. Here we go. Okay, so market trends. So we've been analyzing several different things. When we started co-living in 2016, there were 5 co-living operators in Europe. Now there are 450 in the world. 250 of them are in Europe alone. So this has the industry has grown by a crazy amount. However, we're also seeing a trend of niche co-livings. So there's co-living for women only, or there's co-living for artists, or there's co-living for nurses. So there's also like these niche co-livings popping up, or there's family co-living as well. I need to give you the link to that. So there's a lot of different co-living, and it's nice to see that this hospitality model is picking up. And as we have experienced a lot of it during the pandemic. Loneliness is one of the biggest factor for people to choose co-living, because that's where you get to be with people. Switzerland specifically, this statistic is from 2021, but this is from SRF that did a survey, and it's very interesting to see the survey here and actually what companies are doing now. So one of the biggest number here, it was 88% did not want to go to the office full time. Everyone wanted a hybrid model. This is a demand of the people now. We don't know what actually happens, right? But this is a survey that was conducted. But you see that there's change here. People are demanding for change. I think it also there's this need for people with children have different need versus people who are living in studios have different needs. But still, majority of them still should say that they want hybrid, minimally hybrid working conditions. All right, so that's it from me. I will pass it on to my colleague here, Fanny.
All right, so I hope you can all hear me well online, mostly. You guys, yes, you're fine. But specifically for the people online. So what did we learn as co-living operators? It's been 7 years, been a long time. Every time people think we have a dream job. So they tell us, yeah, you guys are always living the dream. It's cool. You're doing amazing thing. You don't have problems. And yet every dream job is not always a dream job. So there's a look behind the scenes that I wanted to show you a little bit today, because for us, we have 3 main challenges as co-living owners. Those are all the time. There's of course more, but those are the 3 that we have to deal with on a daily, if not monthly basis. Number 1, the hospitality, managing people's expectations. So we are in a people's business, meaning we bring people from all over the world who are not related. That means a place that's, you know, clean for one person is not clean for the other. A place that is vibrant, there's a lot of things going on for one person, may not be the same for another. A place that is with hiking may be like, oh yeah, I've seen these better hikes in, I don't know, US or something, or the beach in Greece. Yeah, there are much better beaches in Thailand. Why would I come to the Greek beaches, right? So we have to constantly, yeah, it's really, we're being compared to Thailand, not fair. But we always have to manage people's expectations in a way that we cannot compare ourselves to others. We are trying as much as possible to bring authenticity to the table. So a Greek place is a Greek place. It's gonna be like where we are in the South, some people smoke still inside the bakery. That's still the way they do. We cannot do anything about that, even though there's a law since I don't know how many years. So we still have all this stuff to explain to people constantly, remind them that this is the place where we are, and this is how people do things here. So that's the number 1 problem or challenge, let's say. Number 2, we tried to do 1 for Switzerland, 1 for Greece. To be honest, there's others, but Switzerland, it's not a secret. High labor cost, high cost for sofas, chairs, things, plumbing, something breaks, you have to pay a lot. So we have to constantly think about how can we make Switzerland affordable. You know, we are not trying to make it super luxury that people cannot afford, but how can we make it? How can we keep our costs low enough so that we have people and we can offer this experience to people? So that's number 1. And in Greece, and for me, this is the biggest challenge personally, is the infrastructure. We are dealing with no public transportation or little, especially in winter. We are also in a place where there's a lot of humidity, wind. This is just the climate is like that. That means the houses are deteriorating, or they need a lot of maintenance. And we are mostly dealing, that's a huge problem for our clients, with sometimes problem with Wi-Fi, unreliable internet. Why? Because it's Greece, it's an island. Sometimes, even though we have backups, 4G, Starlink and everything, sometimes you might be cut off your conference call for 2 minutes, and that's a drama. So this is my personal struggle as a Swiss owner to go to Greece with this kind of chaos. Yes, thank you. Chaos is the word. However, I mean, I want to say in co-living and in our job, there's always two sides of the coin, right? There's the advantages and the disadvantages. So it's not fair to only talk about the challenges. But here we talk about, so the advantage that we see a lot in co-living is always in private, like people want a community, that's cool here. I share my space, but that means I have to let go of my private space as well. And sometimes people are not used to share the bathroom, share the kitchen, share, what do we share? We co-create meals. We do a lot of communal activities because that's the whole point of co-living. You come to us because you want to be with other people. When we started Swiss Escape, we noticed that the #1 problem, I think 90% of the people we interviewed, they told us that they felt lonely when they traveled. 90% is a really high number. So co-living removes this. You don't feel lonely anymore because you have suddenly, I don't know, 10 roommates. But having 10 roommates is cool, but that also means you have 10 people who leave hair here and there, who cook and don't clean after themselves, who, yeah, there are all these things as well that you have to be okay with. And this is what we have to deal with a lot in co-living. And then the price, that's the second thing. Again, advantage is advantage. So co-living is more expensive for sure than traditional house. If you have your rent, I mean, in most places around the world, when you have your rent, well, you're going to pay probably less than a co-living. However, in touristic destination, when you are looking at touristic accommodation, high-end, co-living is a very interesting tool because suddenly you can afford things or places that you couldn't afford on your own. Just to give you an example, and that's the first, I think, yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to say. So these are a few, well, we don't see very well, but few pictures of Greek Escape. This villa that we rent right now for co-living, if you wanted to go to privately book it in August, you have to pay 45,000 euros. That's the price of a 1 month's rent in August. Huh? One villa, yes, we have a second one. Huh? That's just one. Who can afford that? No, well, I mean, yes, nice. Well, good. So in that one villa, well, you're lucky. I wish most people were like you. Most of our clients are not. They're not that, they cannot afford 45,000. So 45,000, we have 6 bedrooms. If I divide that by 6, that's 7,500 per month per room. We offer the same room, the same price, well, the same price, no, but the same room in winter for 1,500, 300, I think, 1,300. So because we are able to get better deals, because we are able to rent on the longer term, we can have better deals with owners or the rental agencies. Actually, in this case, we deal with a rental agency, and we can offer better prices to people. That means suddenly something that is impossible or really high to afford for most people becomes affordable. #1, that's a cool thing with co-living. Second, reliable working setup. So for you guys, it matters a lot. You cannot live without internet because you cannot work without internet. And specifically in Greece, we have to explain so many times that I can deal with a house that has no dishwasher, but I cannot deal with a house that has bad internet. For me, internet is the most important criteria when I choose a location and when we deal with owners. So when I talk about reliable working setup, is #1 the internet, obviously, but not only. It's like, you know, office chairs, comfortable desks, Zoom room where you can have your calls, all of that. Sometimes when we go to Airbnb, it's like, yeah, you have a working, I don't know how they call it, this working desk or office setup thing, and you go there, it's a plastic chair that you have backache after 20 minutes. This is also the reality of what we see at the moment, sometimes on the market, these Airbnbs with working setups. And the last point, and that's the biggest advantage for co-living, is that community is at the center. So we do not offer only just the, you know, the house and the setup, but it's also the people that you're with. We put a lot of effort in organizing events. We have a on-site community manager who's there to really like make sure that people feel good, to facilitate interactions within the community, to create dinners and all of that. So for us, this is probably one of the most important points that is very intangible. It's not, so it makes our life amazing and also very hard to deal with because, as I said before, we have all these people coming from everywhere. So sometimes the dream transforms into a chaos. I think that's the right thing, especially with some people. But what I want to say here, and that's the end of my presentation, or I don't know if you have anything to add. It's fine. Yeah. We've reached upon, so the topic of today was living the dream on a Nomad journey as co-living owner. And in many ways, I feel like, yes, we are living the dream, but it's not very interesting to be just the two of us living the dream. The reason why we started co-living and Escape brand is because we want to share this with other people. We really believe that human interactions that are the center of co-living are the essence of everything we do. Can be hard, but can be, when it's done right, it's super inspiring, super fun. And suddenly we had lots of people who either fell in love. Actually, we had a couple from Swiss Escape since, I don't know, 3 years, I think, 3-4 years. They met in 2020, they're still together. We have people creating partnerships. We have people creating businesses, hiring each other, becoming friends and meeting around the world. So for me, this is the biggest drive of co-living. And I always think I'm in the business of happiness, or I create spaces so that people can be happy and create this connection. And so even though there are challenges, it's always challenging, never boring, full of interactions. And if you haven't done a living experience yet, I just cannot highly I highly recommend you to try, because mostly it's fun. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute myself so the audience can hear as well. The question is about community managers. Yes, each of our space has a community manager, and that's what makes it different from a traditional Airbnb or private housing. And the role of the community manager is to act as a glue, as the host. They organize activities. We have at least 2 activities planned every week. A professional activity, which is sharing skills and knowledge, and also a social activity. At the same time, they are responsible for checking in guests, checking out guests, and creating like the more holistic approach. So yes, each of our spaces are community managers. That's why we are here right now. We are fully booked at the moment, and we can only be here because they're community managers. So I hope that answers the question. Any other question? Is there a good website? Okay, I have already posted the website for other co-living spaces and for family as well. Is there any question here? Yeah.
That you started out in Switzerland, where I think you're from there, right? Why Greece? I mean, you're not from there, and so you're not familiar with the culture, with the language, with all that. And I mean, sure, you traveled somewhere like, oh, that might be really beautiful there, and you want to start there. But I mean, how much more difficult is that, and why would you do that?
We are insane. You want to do it again? I did. Yes. Yes. No, it is purely because of our Greek friends. So where we studied in Lugano, we had many Greek friends, and we were traveling to Greece year after year. And we saw that there was actually no co-living space. And till today, there is no permanent co-living space in Greece. And once we visited because of our friends, I said, hey, let's actually get into a lockdown in Greece on purpose. Okay, that was we gathered a few entrepreneurs, our friends, and we said, we know there's second lockdown coming up. Let's rent a nice villa and let's get locked down together. So that was on purpose. We got locked down, but it's a way for us to test the property. We stay in every property that we rent or sell to others. We stay ourselves first 1 or 2 months, and we stayed actually 4 months, I think, in that property. Yeah. So and that was our proof of concept, and was like, okay, that works. People are great. The culture is great. Food's great. Everyone speaks English. To answer your question, the language barrier was not there. Of course, if we were to go somewhere different where there's language barrier, we have to work with locals. Currently, we also work with locals to organize all our activities, and also for like we have someone someone local, a Greek person who makes breakfast from home and brings it to our guests as people want. We have a bee farm that we work with that cultivates bees, and you can actually go and make your own own honey, not bee. That's weird. Or olive harvesting and things. So we work with locals on various things, but that's how and why we are in Greece.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Unmute yourself. No, I think the real reason is a heart reason. It's the heartfelt reason. It's like, did we do a market research on is Greece a really good place to launch a co-living? Not really. We were like, we want to go, we just go there. We got stuck together on lockdown. We're like, this is a place we want to come back to. But it's kind of like we had to decide to commit to that place. And honestly, would I do it again? I don't know, because it was really like, now we are launched, it's fine. Would I do the beginning again? No, there were lots of ups and downs. In Greece, it's like insane. And you're right, we are not locals. It adds a layer of difficulty. It's not so easy. In Switzerland, we did it because I was from there, but to be honest, Switzerland, well, we started in Switzerland because we thought it's going to be a 6 months prototype. And after that, we will go to Bali. That was my dream. I wanted to go to Bali, open a co-living. I'm happy I never got to Bali because it would have been super difficult. And I see now in Greece how Greece is difficult versus Switzerland. So that's the reason. Yeah, that's it.
Just to tell you guys, there have been failures here. We've tested Croatia and it did not work. So we didn't open a property there because we went and stayed there and it was really difficult to work with the locals for us. So it's a great place to visit, not to do business at the moment for us. So we are constantly testing different destinations and we see if it works, we launch it. If it doesn't work, we forget it. Yes. Yes.
What's the average length of stay of your tenants or people coming? And then also, do you have guidelines when they first get there for social rules, or how do you sort of keep the ropes clear between people?
Very good question. Yes, we have an average stay of a month. That's the usual stay, especially in winter. People stay longer because they buy a season pass, so they want to stay as long as possible. But otherwise, it's 1 month. And yes, we have community guidelines and community rules. So again, we always have an onboarding procedure that we introduce that this is a home and not a hotel. So it's not a service-based hospitality. It's a home, so we have community guidelines on like how to keep the kitchen area clean, for example, turning off the lights, making sure you respect if someone else is on the call. But we have a Zoom room for people to book for taking private calls, so take the calls there and not in the main co-working area. So yes, there's guidelines that we've produced for that.
More questions maybe at the apéro?
Yes, okay, so we'll do questions after. Thank you again.
Stay. Is this open? Yeah, I think so. Thank you very much. So, Fanny and I come to this side. Thank you very much for bringing us your insights about co-living, about Greece and Switzerland. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much, Fanny. That's for you. Something from Bern. That's for you. And yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Claire. I'll let you set up. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, to start this introduction. When you're ready, you tell me when you're ready. Okay. Okay, you're fine. Okay. Okay, next we will hear Claire Houston. She is a co-founder of Houston and Co.
Correct. Keep it simple. You know?
Joins us to discuss the power of flexibility in modern talent attraction. Stay tuned to learn how this shift is reshaping our approach to work and employment. Thank you very much, Claire Houston. Stage
Cool.
is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I love the confidence with which Loren said you're going to hear from Claire Houston. I mean, let's hope the technology allows that as well for everybody online. But yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, and actually thank you to the whole digital Nomads Swift team for putting this together. It's been really cool to be the last one to speak. It definitely got a little bit sweatier after all of those fantastic presentations. But it's actually really lovely to see the diversity that's in this community. I have to say, Rolf and Samira, I am so glad that I'm not digital nomading with children. That was quite an insight / contraceptive. But and yeah, it was really cool to see that kind of diversity that exists within the community. And I wanted to, well, maybe just before I start, so that I understand who we've got in the room today and also online, maybe if you can raise your hands if you're a freelancer. Any freelancers in the room? Cool, plenty. Yeah. Anybody been a freelancer or interested in becoming a freelancer? Maybe even considering? Okay, cool, plenty as well. Anybody that's employing freelancers? Yeah, cool. Okay, also some there as well. And I'm sure, yeah, we've got plenty of variety as well online. Cool. So just to give you kind of an introduction to myself, I wear a little bit two hats. Previously, my background, I come from large corporations, from Coca-Cola, from the Adecco Group. I started there when I was 18, so I have nearly 10 years experience really kind of growing up in that corporate office, maybe especially in Switzerland. You know, it's quite structured, checking in at 8 o'clock, checking out at definitely 4:59. And now we've kind of put on this different hat, I guess, in the last 4 years. My co-founder and myself founded a company. It's called Houston & Co. because of a strange legal quirk in the Swiss system. When you incorporate the business with a B visa, you have to have a surname in the title. So we said, cool, we started up and look for sure before we go to market, we'll change it for something cooler, something sexier. And like here we are 4 years later, we're still Houston & Co. It's an SEO nightmare because it's K and not C. But yeah, so we started that. Now we have a team of around 42 freelancers that we're working with on really a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Those individuals are all over the world, some Swiss, some European, really from different places. And ourselves, we're also a 100% remote company. So my co-founder Paula also comes from large corporations, and we really kind of took a kind of headfirst dive into the world of I guess working and traveling. Some call it nomading, some call it slow-madding because you have a little bit more time. But yeah, I think one of the key things that allows that these two experiences combine is that it really allows you to see how you can combine work and the skills that you've got to offer, especially on a freelance basis and a remote basis, but also having a look at what is it that companies need, what is it that's attractive to companies, and how do we bring these two bits together to solve the skill shortage that we're hearing about now, and for sure is going to continue kind of into next year. So what we do as a company is we connect these kind of two worlds together.
So over here, we've got really the kind of freelance side of the business. So here we really work with top quality talent. So I'm sure you're familiar with Fiverr and Upwork, yes? It's really kind of a no barrier to entry model, which makes it very difficult for any of you who are real professionals in what you do to kind of carve yourself out from that larger group and really offer your skills. So we work with really the top quality talent. Out of the total applications that come to us, we only take around 14% of those. So we really take this kind of top skills forward. We only work with people that have really chosen the freelance lifestyle. And we spoke about this a little earlier, was that the freelance lifestyle comes with its challenges. It's definitely not all rosy. And what we want is those that are not, that haven't come to freelance from a place of necessity, but have really chosen that the working remotely is part of how they want to live their lives. As I said, the team are from around the world, and we've got some amazing digital community hubs in Portugal, in Bali, some amazing places that are available to work from now. And yeah, absolutely, our team really have the flexibility to work from anywhere at all. Some stay in one place for 3 to 4 months, and others travel around as they go. On the other side of the business, what we have are the clients. So these are typically Swiss companies. They're looking to grow their team, so they're looking for talent. And we work with a combination of large corporations and then typically later stage startups and scale-ups. And I think typically maybe when we think of the freelance economy, it really sits in this area. Startups, scale-ups for sure are more familiar with the freelance model and freelance economy. But what we actually start to see here are larger corporations starting to embrace that freelance world. FIFA, IMD, Solsterd, ISO, these guys are out there and are also looking for freelance staff as well. So we work to kind of bring these two worlds together in a way that allows both of them to exchange as much value as possible. So that's what we do. And if we look at the status quo of today for what these two worlds look like, you'll see it's really a broken model at the minute. So for the freelancers, there's literally less than 2% of freelancers that are on Upwork that earn over $1,000 a month. Especially looking at this from a Swiss perspective, like that, that's not a feasible living wage here and also not in many other countries. So you really see that these platforms don't facilitate people to do this as a way to make a living. 72% of freelancers invoices go unpaid. So I think, yes, we had some great conversations earlier about the pain in the neck when clients don't pay you, especially bigger clients that have the capital there. And as a freelancer, you're really on the other side of that bench. And then finally, only 14% of freelancers manage to bill more than 30 hours per week. Okay, this is really like being a freelancer, you know what it's like. You also have to do all of the admin. You have to look for clients. You have to do all of those chasing up of invoices. There's lots of things that you have to do that you don't want to do. They're maybe not your skill set, but also at the end of the day, you don't get paid for them. And the more hours you have to work, the less time you have to travel. So that's really a challenge there. Or do other things. All of these in the presentation, if you get it afterwards, are linked to the study, so you can go in and have a little look there. So that's really the challenges that sit on the freelance side of the business. And if we hop across and look at what's going on the client side, so these are HR managers, they're heads of departments. The current interview process alone in Switzerland is 37.5 days. And this is actually the third longest in the entire world. And I feel like the Swiss are not going to like that. No, they like to be efficient, they like to get things done. It's actually one of the worst, one of the longest interview processes. This year, so this quarter, actually, 74% of companies said that they either had extreme difficulty finding or just couldn't find candidates for positions. This is at 17-year high. So really you see that they're saying, we come to this in a bit, that they're saying we can't find good talent. And Credit Suisse and SICPIC, the Swiss Investor Network, just released a report last year, and 3 pages, or sorry, last week, 3 pages of it is dedicated to the talent shortage, the skill shortage that exists within Switzerland. We come to it next because it frustrates the hell out of me, but let's move on to that. And then finally, if you look at, these are kind of these first two are really the typical kind of hiring challenges as such. If those companies come to the likes of Upwork or Fiverr, you have a raft of different challenges around quality, around legislation. But one of the things that Upwork ran this campaign to say that they now have 18 million freelancers on Upwork, and I don't know if anybody that created that campaign has ever hired somebody or tried to filter through 18 applications, never mind 18 million. But yeah, I feel like saying, hey, we actually have the quantity is not helpful without making sure that they've got that quality. So the system for sure is broken at the minute on both sides of the coin. And looking at what that translates to into a very personal kind of view, you've got freelancers. Every day we have conversations with freelancers that come to us and say, I don't get paid fairly. I've next to no income security, which makes it difficult to plan, for example, trips like Samira's and Rolf, where you have 6 months. And I basically have to spend my time on tasks that ultimately I can't bill for at the end of the day. That's the kind of gripes from that side. From the other side, what we see is that the hiring managers, when we're talking to clients, departmental heads, they say, by the time I get to hiring, by the time I get the actual person into that position nearly 4 months later, that I've already not been able to deliver on what I need to deliver. I don't have the right team, basically, to be able to deliver on the objectives that I've got and how those can contribute to the organization. And I basically spend my time filtering through a lot of underqualified profiles. So these are the challenges that we hear anecdotally from both sides of this coin. If you look, and as I said, it's really one of the things that frustrates the hell out of me when I hear people crying about the fact that they can't find good talent, because you can find good talent. What you can't find is enough good talent that wants to work under archaic systems, processes, right? Yes, right, okay. I absolutely hate it. I hate because there's people sitting in this room, right, that are talented individuals, and they say, it's not that I don't want to work, it's not that I can't provide you with talent, it's that I don't want to do it under your conditions, right? It exists because of the way the market changes have gone, especially since the recession back in 2007. But this is really like what we hear, and it's frustrating. And what's even more frustrating is the solutions exist, right? The solutions exist. Companies need to think outside of, okay, how do I attract talent under my conditions, and look to say, look, how can I acquire great skills regardless of all of the other redundant criteria that's there? So if we look at this new world, and basically when you take these two sides unchanged as they are, but connect them in a different structure that allows both sides to extract more value from the relationship, what we have at the minute is that 50% of the individuals that we're working with have been working together with the client on a project for more than 2 years. So we see this is not ad hoc projects, it's not firefighting, it's really long-term ways to build portfolios that allow you to do freelance remote work as a lifestyle. We also spoke about this earlier, it's a real gripe. We basically always guarantee the monthly payments. So it's one of the kind of biggest challenges for freelancers. We see that, and it's easy as an organization, much easier than it is as a company, as an individual person, to say, look, if a client holds an invoice for us, we still pay our freelancers on time. That allows them to get forward and work, and that allows you to de-risk it from a financial side, coming from a freelancer. And we also take care of basically finding the clients, doing the admin and doing the invoicing from them. So they get 5 to 7 hours per week back And for them, that's a very quantifiable amount of money, translates to money going into your bank account on the same day at the end of every month. On the client side, we see basically our average recruitment time from first conversation to having somebody working together. Typically, we start with the trial is 9 days. So we're able to do actually the whole recruitment cycle in nearly a third of the time. Like they haven't even started to flick through the 80 million applications they've got. For each one, we have 2 to 3 qualified candidates. I can tell you, we don't ever find a shortage of candidates. We know they're there. We're just looking in other places and more flexibly than what those companies are doing at the minute. And as I mentioned before, we have this acceptance rate. So we're really looking through that market and pulling out who are those skilled individuals and offering them access to the top talent. So for them, again, looking anecdotally for our freelancers, what our team tells us is I can make a living from what I do whilst having the freedom. I can save travel, knowing with some element of certainty what's going to come in next week. And I spend more time working on things that I'm good at. On the client side, they have the talent, they have the needs at the same time that they have the business demand, not 4 months later. They've got the confidence in their team and they can basically trust and rely on who it is that they're working with. So there's very quantitative benefits, but there's also a lot of qualitative benefits that we hear every day from both sides of our team. Look, when you structure this differently, it ultimately makes a difference. And finally, then I basically wanted to kind of just touch on maybe what both sides can do to transition from one side to the other, because I know from previous conversations and some nodding heads that obviously some of those pain points are familiar to you. The first one I would say is for a freelancer to build a strong portfolio. This takes away the redundant criteria. So typically remote work and freelancing is diverse by nature. So we have, our team is full of returning mothers, it's full of elder, kind of later in career workers. It's full of people with abilities, disabilities. It really doesn't matter. The accessibility is here to kind of work from anywhere. Building a strong portfolio is absolutely key to that. We see less CVs being exchanged. So our clients less and less are saying, can you show me what university this person went to, what age they are, what their picture looks like, and are more and more saying to us, show me an example of the type of work this person can deliver. So I would say that's definitely the first one. Speaking to the problem owners, if you are a freelancer or you're looking for remote work, if you see a job opportunity that sits within a communications department, I would actively encourage you to bypass HR and go to the head of comms. Go to whoever the departmental owners are. They're the ones that hold the pain at the end of the day and have a greater motivation to fix the problem than ultimately HR do. Definitely being curious about the context is something that we see. So understanding that when you deliver an outcome, it's not just the outcome that you're being asked to hand over, but you have curiosity into how that contributes to departmental goals or business goals. It's something that we typically see freelancers focus on quite narrowly in terms of what they can deliver. So you really set yourself apart if you're able to kind of take this broader look. And finally, you can set clear expectations. So we always say, look at those statistics, take them with you. And when you're going into those conversations with clients, negotiate on payment terms, right? You know, bring it forward. I'm telling you, you don't have to be begging, hoping, trying to put your best foot forward. Those clients are having trouble finding good people. And if you're able to present what you can deliver in the right way, you have plenty of negotiation power. So negotiate retainers, rates, payment terms, all of those things. Really bring that confidence to those conversations, because I'm telling you, the skills, need, demand is there. For anyone that's hiring freelancers on the opposite side, ask for evidence, not CVs, especially with lots of particular roles. To be honest, the CV tells you very little, guarantees you very little. If you can evidence value, it's much more useful. Critically assess the job criteria and basically strip out desk time if you don't need it, time zone if you don't need it, working hours if you don't need it. So really kind of with a fine tooth comb, go through that and take out the parts that are not relevant, that don't serve the purpose. Try before you buy. I guess it goes on both sides actually. It's typically our process. We would run a short project between the clients and the freelancers, and this really lets both sides see what it's like to work with each other. It's really easy to do. And then I would say start small and focus on outcomes. So the clients that work best, and this is also something to keep your eyes out as a freelancer, the clients that work best will be talking to you about outcomes, because the design of the role should be that you have the freedom, the flexibility to go to different places, to work when you want to work, and to contribute that value when where and when it suits you. So if you see that a client is talking in deadline and outcomes, you have a much lower chance that that person is going to be appearing on your phone every day saying, hey, can you do this, when you're trying to snorkel in the Bahamas or drink your pina colada on the beach. So I would say, yeah, you can really vet on both sides, and bringing these two sides together is really, there's really still some work to be done, but as I said, there's huge opportunities, and for both sides showing an interest in the other side of the table is really going to help you be more successful, whether you're looking to acquire talent or whether you're looking to offer yours as a freelancer. Are we okay for time? Cool. Okay, cool. Then before I wrap up and maybe open for questions, if anyone has questions, would like to say and offer that for anybody here that is a freelancer that's struggling with any of those challenges, I would like to absolutely offer Paula, my co-founder, and I would be delighted to have a conversation with you, see if there's opportunities there to collaborate. So please reach out to me. You have all my details from the presentation, but I'll also be here for dinner and apero. So please come and speak to me about that. And on the other side, if you're a client or you're struggling to find talent, that's also something that I would be happy to chat to you about as well. So that's that's my offer. Cool.
Any questions?
Do you focus on any specific skill set, like IT or?
Yeah, sure. So probably our biggest area of demand, so typically the skill set comes from the demand that we see in the market. For sure, at the minute, the biggest demand is we have anything in the digital marketing area, copywriters, graphic designers, social media managers, editors, anything that falls under the digital marketing piece. Probably our second biggest one is around project management, team organization. And the third area, but our smallest area, would be on kind of financial administration, not technical accounting, but those that are working with that software and with some of the knowledge. Yeah.
Huss, I run to you.
So we hire freelancers, and one thing more often than not, what we see is a high turnover rate, that they switch to different projects.
Yeah.
Is there a way to guarantee through your platform that we can have a freelancer for at least a minimum of 6 months to a year?
Yeah. So we don't do minimum contracts for either side. We honestly believe the best way to keep both sides happy is to really add value. So we focus on trying to do that. What we also don't want to do is lock somebody in on a bit of paper when both sides say, hey, I'm openly not happy with this arrangement. I think how we do it, and you saw in that statistic, right, 2+ years for 50% of our engagement. We typically have quite a low turnover rate with freelancers. And I think it's really come to the core of the vetting process, is those initial conversations that you have, and being very candid and sometimes a bit awkward about what rates, what hours, lots of different areas over the last 3 to 4 years, we've probably found a way to include questions and discussions that limit that, because you're absolutely right. It's one of the key challenges or barriers in those entire freelancers' heads. And it's definitely a reality. But I think we've come across some ways that we vet that out in the process. Would be happy to talk about that. Yeah. Please, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd be delighted.
Thank you so much. Okay, I also think that like if you want to keep the people, if you're looking for freelancers, it's also a little bit what you said is the conditions. So I can imagine that in your case, because the conditions are better, because as we just saw, a lot of freelancers, they don't get paid on time, like big companies sometimes, because, you know, they will pay you in the end, but, you know, it can take a long time from the freelancer side. Small companies, well, sometimes they just don't pay you. Then we also saw like rates aren't good. And what my experience is that like, and how I work with my clients, for example, those, and it's not only just the pay, but when the conditions are just decent and correct, I mean, for sure, I'll stay with them. You see what I mean? So I think that is also really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes also just to pay a little bit more, give an extra condition. And yeah, I definitely think that it will be easier to keep people. And it's also what I hear in my whole community from, or like a lot of people who are freelancers.
It's a great point as well. And it's kind of sometimes like the awkward answer is like, it's not me, it's you. Right. And it's also looking just at maybe some of the conditions that are in the role, or how the role is structured, or how those conversations take place. So sometimes the reality is that that's part of it, or contributes to it for sure, is that the role's structured in a way that kind of doesn't encourage that kind of tenure. So yeah, absolutely fantastic point. And as you say, we hear it all the time from communities of freelancers. Absolutely, yeah. Cool. Okay, great. Maybe just because I'm the last speaker, I think, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Would just like to say a big thank you to Lauren, Rolf, Mona, the broader team here that I think have done such a fantastic job also managing the technical issues as well. You know, I think, the speeches this afternoon have been fantastic. So we just like to say, yes, on behalf of us all, a big thank you to your work and what you've done today.
Thanks. We forgot the chocolates. The sweets. It's not chocolate. Actually, it's Labkuchen. I don't know in English. Well, what's that in English? It's Haselnuss Lebkuchen. I don't know the word. Gingerbread. Thanks. Yeah, it's gingerbread from Bern. Thank you very much, Claire, for your insights. It was very interesting. Thanks. Okay, now we are not at the end, but we're coming to the panel discussion right now. So we have 10 minutes to prepare the panel discussions with all the keynote speakers from today, and you can ask them your questions. I have one icebreaker question. After that, it's your turn, and give us 10 minutes to build the panel, and then we start in 10 minutes. I go and let's have a seat.
Test, test, test. Hallo. Goed.
Please have a seat. Or, ja, please have a seat. Auf jeden Fall dahinter stehst, gut, kein Problem. Was hast du?
Okay.
Das tue ich jetzt noch verteilen, genau. Ja, das tue ich heute noch gerne.
Everyone, please have a seat. Please have a seat, everyone. Thank you. Please have a seat, sorry. Ja, du weißt. Gut, ja. Ja. Rolf. Ist offen, ja, ist offen. Genau. Ja, alle. Dies, nie so. Ja, genau, darum.
Panelists, are you ready? Final round. Okay, we're coming back to the stage. Our panelists are ready for questions about digital nomadism, remote work, whatever you want to know. Can be very interesting to have some insights after your keynotes. Probably there are still some questions. And I will start with the first question, then I hand it over with the micro to your side. So what is the future of digital nomadism? Nowadays, companies are calling back people back to the office. So the trend is sadly going a little bit in that direction, what we can see with remote work, but we're sure that's not the end of the story. What's the future of digital nomadism?
Yeah, I can start. So, I mean, like I said, 88% of people do not want to go to the office, even if the companies are asking, and I'm talking specifically about Switzerland here. I think more and more it has to come from the people that there is a demand for hybrid working, because even though people are moving back to the office, they still want flexibility. And I do see the future shifting towards more remote work as we start educating more and more with companies like yours, and at the same time what Mia and Gadin, you guys are doing as well. It's more education, more awareness about what is the possibilities. I think the biggest fear is always productivity. So there has to also be studies, and in Switzerland we love statistics to show that it's actually proven that you can be productive outside of the office environment. So I don't see the train stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm part of this women entrepreneur group in Lausanne, Switzerland, and I see every day, if not every week, like lots of women who actually quit corporate world. And I see, so quitting, and doesn't matter what age they are, like we are talking about in their 30s, in their 40s, 50s, even close to retiring. I see this as a super, super high trend. And I think more and more people, corporate people leaving their job to become freelancers. And I think solutions like yours, Claire, is super important because as you said, Fiverr right now is not really an option. At least for Swiss market, it's just not viable. No one can live from Fiverr. So this is my feeling here. I don't have stats. I just see and I talk to people and I see a lot of, people don't want to be in the office anymore.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Fanny. Has other opinions on that question? Yeah, please, Syba.
So I wholeheartedly agree to you. You showed there is a problem. There is actually at the moment a big discrepancy, do I pronounce it right? Between what people want, as you say with the statistic and you showed, and what still the I call it old-fashioned, sorry if I'm offending someone here, the old-fashioned leadership and management wants to have. And at the moment, this discrepancy is still there and they're still forcing people, but we all know how force is actually working, like quiet quitting is a big buzzword at the moment. People just trying new things, pushing against the system. And I think at the moment, the people are already motivated to change, but the bosses are not yet. And I think in the future, this is also maybe a generational problem because the people who are sitting at the moment on their chairs in high positions are, let's be honest, old white men. I'm sorry for that buzzword too, but I have to mention it. And I think this generation is slowly, going away. And I'm very interested to see what the next generation, like us all, I think we're all in the same kind of generation, will bring to the table. And I think it's also up to us to do these changes, to live these changes, to set examples, to actually take action, which is very, very cool.
Thank you very much, Syba. Other opinions? Or then we go to our guests here in the room and we go to our guests online. Are there some questions, Mona?
Not yet, but maybe one from the last speech would be now too. I think it would be.
Okay, we take that now from the online. Can you?
Yes. There was the question, what do you think how open big Swiss companies are for remote work now? So maybe that would, it's interesting for all of us. So especially in Switzerland, also in general, but especially in Switzerland, how open are companies in general and bigger companies specifically for remote work?
Yeah, yeah, happy to go. I think they're going to be forced. It's not one of these things like how many want to get on board and offer flexibility to work from anywhere. Very, very few, to be honest. But at the minute, it's one of those things where you can't really afford to miss out. You know, how many companies wanted to community manage Facebook groups when Facebook came along? Absolutely none of them. But you move into a space where you say, okay, the cost of missing out on the trend just means you can't be commercially competitive anymore. So actually, I think those that have already moved are in a very strong position. And for those that haven't yet moved, what we will see in the next couple of years is their hands will be forced, or we won't see them on the market anymore.
Thank you very much, Claire. I go to our guests here in the room. Are there any questions? Yeah, up there. Okay.
So, yes, thank you so much. So what I see in the Swiss market, especially after COVID, before COVID, oh my gosh, but now after COVID, I do actually see that a lot of, more and more Swiss companies, at least in my experience to me, they say, hey, if you want to do this project, yes, it's possible. You can do it remote, even 100%, but most of the time, they want you to stay in Switzerland. And that is the downside. And what they don't realize, I sometimes try to explain it, is that, okay, I understand that. However, like, I think like at least what is negotiable, like I think what in the first talk with the children, like you can negotiate that then 3 months or 6 months a year that you can, for example, travel, because tax-wise that is doable. So I think that is also really important from our side to explain that and to let that know to the Swiss companies. And I repeat, I am still seeing a trend. I still have hope, or not hope, but I'm still quite positive, especially after COVID, that I do still see companies, at least already they have the 100% remote jobs. At least I see them more and more. So that's also good news.
Any answers or additions to that? Okay. Is it a statement, or do you have a question? Okay, react. Okay, fair enough.
See in the market, you know, because we just said that Swiss companies are not very open, like, but they might have to, because as was explained, like there is now in the women in the sorry, I forgot. Yeah, exactly. So, thanks so much. So in the women group, for example, some women, they just say, hey, I quit, doesn't matter, no matter what, no matter how. So the trend is there. So yeah, companies just will have to go into this direction. And then, of course, some people said as well that it's really still very difficult. And then I'm just sharing with you that I also, as a freelancer, I also see a changing trend. And then, as I just said, like the only issue is that a lot of companies, they think due to tax reasons that they cannot let you go, that you really have to be in Switzerland all the time. And that is, of course, yeah, that's actually not the case.
Okay, a lot of work for Swiss companies, for Swiss corporates ahead of us. So other questions here in the room? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So to Claire, right, Claire? How do you differentiate yourself from headhunters? I understand you're basically a headhunter company like Harvey Nash or Allegis. How do you? What's the difference, or is there, or you both, or you're all competing in the same space?
Yeah, I mean, I think the blessing a little bit that we have is. Sorry, speak up. Is that what you said?
Bit louder.
Okay, got it. I think the blessing that we have is that those big recruitment companies are nearly in the same place as what the big corporates are, is that they haven't taken the time to understand the prevalence of the freelance market. And you'll find that nearly all of those big recruiting companies are typically not recruiting in the freelance space. Not yet anyway, and are kind of not set up to do it. The majority of hiring is still done through the traditional models. So I guess for them, it hasn't become important enough yet to change over and expand into that area. That'll be something we have to cross when it comes, of course. I think the fact that we've got longevity in the market since kind of pre-COVID gives us a bit of a jump start. But of course, there's no way that we're not looking over our shoulder saying, okay, if Harvey Nash, Manpower, Adecco gets into this area, what do we need to do? So yeah, I think we've got a good start at the minute, but not naive enough to think that other big companies are going to take notice of the trends and how they're moving. Yeah.
Thank you, Claire. Other questions probably about children, traveling with children. We have experts, co-living.
I have no children, but a question to globalization. We already have the trend of outsourcing for economic reasons. We produce t-shirts in Vietnam, we run call centers in India. With the rise of remote work and easy access to good high-speed internet, do you see a trend of a decline of pay, like the salaries? For now, I think we're still mostly European, American, like these high-paid, high-skilled. Do you see that as a trend, that it's going to be more and more third world countries playing in the game?
Who wants to answer?
Anybody want to go? I think that so typically the clients that we're working with are not looking for cheap labor. They're having trouble finding highly skilled professionals. I guess those that are looking for cheap labor and that outsourcing already have solutions in the market. I do think we will see a bit of a I think we'll see the wage disparity move more into a kind of more middle ground. But what we also see with those that choose to travel, from Switzerland, if you go and spend time in South Africa, or nearly any other country, you also have a lower cost of living as well. So I'd say that the wages, rather than come down or move to those emerging markets, will actually start to be linked to location where you find the density of the skill set that's there, and what the living costs are in that place. So we don't see clients coming to us saying, hey, we would like to move workforce to those emerging markets. At the minute, they're still struggling to get those highly skilled individuals.
Thanks, Claire. Other answers, opinions? Yeah.
It's not another answer, but it goes in the same. We had, while traveling, a lot of clients from Switzerland, and I think Swiss people, they like to stay with other Swiss people or freelancers, so that's really good for us. And so, next to me, there were other people working for like a fraction of what I'm asking per hour. That was it's still, yeah, a thing. Not a thing, to outsource. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Swiss love the Swiss.
Yes.
It's good, it's not a bad thing, but they do.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we have another question here.
Yes, my name is Frode, I'm from Norway. So I'm working on a project that is, I feel, inside the sphere that we all are in, but it's a little bit from another perspective than what I have experienced here in this conference. So for me, it's interesting if you understand what I'm saying or what I'm trying to sketch from my work. So I'm here in Switzerland because in Norway now it gets dark, and right now it's perfect conditions for working here in Switzerland. Is a perfect place right now, this time of the year. And the thing I'm working with is connected with some kind of knowledge of society that you spend longer time in. And in Norway, we have there is a process, or there is what's happening is that people grew up in Oslo area, they study there, and they go to the regular holiday resorts and go to Spain to have some sun, and they end up making decisions for that will have influence all over Norway. And that is it's possible to make a norm or an ethics that people in decision-making bodies in Oslo, that they should, this organization always should have some people that work remote from the areas that are affected by the decisions. Like the coast of Norway, you need a longer time to understand how it is to make a business. These places very different from people in Oslo experience. So I'm working actually with the idea that there is these things, the work remote should be from the budgets of the decision-making bodies in the center. We have a very strong center-periphery question in Norway. And as my example also, that I kind of, I go to the places where I find the best conditions for working. Is it understandable? And like in Switzerland, you have nature similar to our nature in Norway, but I don't feel you have the same. You say there's like the lack of knowledge. So let's say Engadine or something in the centers. For us, it's a very strong problem, because like recently there was a report of if you should make a railway all through Norway from south to north. That means the last 500 kilometers. And the report say, no, it's too expensive. And we must ask, is the input here, who put in the input? And so working remote can help in these things.
That's a very good question. I think it's very much on the policy, from what I understand, policy making as well. I think what has worked specifically for Greece, because I'm also working closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Tourism, they have started initiatives on what they call Work from Greece. .gr, which is from the Ministry of Tourism. And what they do is they ask people from around the world, digital nomads, to come and live in different parts of Greece, experience Greece, and share it with the world, right? So it could be something that could be talked with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Ministry of Tourism to implement a decision. Again, for me, what always is easy when you have something like a role model or something that's already working in one country, to take that and implement it in another country. So in terms of Norway, I see that you're saying that Oslo is the central body of decisions it's making for the coastal towns and everything, and you want to decentralize the decision making. But I get your point, like people should experience being in these places, working from these places, and one way to do that is creating a new initiative, like Work from Norway, for example, for lack of a better name, to help people come and experience. And it doesn't have to be a governmental initiative. It could be your initiative that you start Work from Norway and bring people to different parts of Norway and to show what's there.
We have a question online, or do you want to elaborate further? No, I have this. You can give it to Samira.
Add something to what you said. In Switzerland, it's not standard, but for example, in Germany, they decided that co-working brings people together, brings people back to villages, young people. Hopefully, they hope so. The government of Germany is funding the co-working scene enormously, and also then does the workation scene and digital nomadism and so on. And they actually build up, even in smaller places, really, really innovative, cool spaces where the people stay longer. Suddenly, there are much more young people going back to their old village, not old village, but back to the village where they grew up. And this maybe because, you know, if you bring like this people together, which are normally not related to each other, what you guys do too, I mean, the creativity flows, friendship grows, business grow, and so on. So this could be a possibility, as he said, maybe not just the government who has to do that, but also private initiatives.
So there is an online question from Marianne. It's two questions actually. The first one is easier to explain. Samira, you told us about that the preparation is everything. Can you kindly give us some more details about traveling with children?
Well, yes, it helps if you
are prepared in a way of what might come. So definitely work-wise, that you and your partner, that you say, okay, how do we want to do it? Like who does work when, how is it with children occupation? Because in first place, for me, this was the scary thing. So if only one of us is working and the other one has to take care of the children all the time, could be something. And also like country-wise, maybe, that you think about where do you want to go? How is safety there? Do they have like also hospitals or something not too far away? Because if something happens, you want to be able to go there quickly. Yes, like this.
Mm-hmm. And they were also asking, how long can you legally work abroad? This is always the same question. It's very hard to answer too. There are these 180 days rule for the taxes thing, or there are, of course, limitations with the visa you get. So there is not, we cannot answer this question straight away, right? And it always also depends on your employer. If he's okay and fine with that, you can work wherever you want, as long as if no one knows that you are abroad, right? In German is wo kein Kläger, da kein Richter. And this goes with that.
Yeah, maybe if you work with clients. So I'm employed, and sometimes I do have to work with clients as well, and maybe they don't like to see it if I work abroad. So this is why during the time we were abroad, I didn't do any client project. So in case they know I'm not there, so I don't work with them. This is also something that if you work for clients, maybe think about how do they like it if you work abroad, because sometimes they have like security issues that they think, that you are not set up properly, or that when you work somewhere where it's warm and you have a beach, that you won't work at all. I think this is also might be an issue in Switzerland, that they think if you work abroad, like if you go live in Thailand to work for Swiss corporates, that they think you don't work. On the other hand, they like to work with Swiss people because they know the work ethic is there, and they know people like to work from 8 to 5 and not like only 7 hours or something. So they work there 8.5. This could be something why they choose Swiss workforce instead of someone abroad, which would be cheaper.
So there are more questions from the audience here in Bern. You have, no?
Sylvia?
I only wanted to ask.
Sylvia?
Just. I must think about my question. No, it's not a question, but the thing we discussed right now, it brings me to the question from before: are companies or big companies open? Yes, they are, because I did 15 years business development for SMEs and big companies. And what I built up is a trust that the owners, business owners, tell me what are the challenges. And what we're talking about right now, they are open for flexibilization. They are open for individual work models, but what they have are the restrictions from the government. And until the restrictions are not changing, is always difficult because of that, what we discussed right now. They have restrictions, they know that, but they have needs on the other hand side from individuals, and they want to give that, but they can't expect, okay, they do like you said, where is no Richter, there is, what you said, I cannot translate, sorry for that. And as I see from my experience when I talk with these business owners, it's the biggest challenge. And I think that we all together can move that on a higher level, on the government level, that the rules are changing, that the leadership forms are changing. And then
I think right now the companies are really willing to do that and to find solution. And I'm I'm happy that we have a lot of people. They are really strengthened about that and working on that, and we grow. And that's, I think, it really go together a bit of everything.
Thank you, Sylvia. Any opinions, answers?
No, just to add to it, and just an example of how things have shifted. Pre-COVID, we had a guest who was working for UBS. He did not tell UBS that he was working remotely in Switzerland, because in Switzerland itself was a problem, because they had questions of data encryption, like how secure is the internet service that you're offering because of hacks, data hacks. And that's one thing, Samira, you were mentioning about working from abroad, because they're worried about data leaks. But this was pre-COVID, right? And you see how that has shifted. Everyone went home and the companies adapted, right? So I think this is just another hurdle to overcome, that more people try it and they see it's okay, that we will overcome that.
Thank you very much, Has, for your answer. We have just 2 minutes, so a last question. After that, we have to prepare for upper and lunch. It's okay, Rolf? Or there is one question online about gentrification. We could take that. That's very interesting. It's always discussed. So we could discuss about gentrification, about rising prices in Greece and all over the place. So we know it from Lisbon. We have people who are traveling by bicycle, like Natalie. So there are lifestyles here around. It's not a typically digital nomad lifestyle. So there are different forms coming up. So we can take that question from the virtual audience now for gentrification. What do you think? What's the future? What we can do about that? So it's mostly about rising prices.
Just to understand the question, so gentrification in the sense like how, because of digital nomads, the prices are raising in certain cities?
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
That's what I was understanding about that question coming up from the audience, from the Zoom audience.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it comes down to regulation. I think in Switzerland, they also have, like, I know Luzern, Canton Luzern did that recently for Airbnb. They put regulation that you cannot rent it more than 3 months a year. So it's also regulating. Berlin has a cap on how much rent you can ask. So it's Lisbon is currently not regulating, and that's where we see really high prices. But I think what could really happen, especially what we've seen in the last 6-7 years in Griemans, in small towns, they need repopulation. So alpine villages in Switzerland need repopulations. So if remote work can enable that, a lot of these places which have beautiful chalets and beautiful properties can become more populated. You can diversify that change of pricing, so it's not kind of centered around one main city.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Greece, we are in a village that's literally empty 5 months a year. That's the business model there, is like just sell to tourists, very high prices for 7 months a year, and then you do nothing for 5 months. This is how it works at the moment. Crete, I'm talking about Crete here, and this is the model that, this is not a sustainable tourist. It's not a sustainable model for tourists, for locals. So again, this is very much Greek. The prices yet are super down. Like the prices in winter in Greece, if you go to this is nothing. It doesn't cost anything because there's no one wanting to go there. So I know Lisbon is completely different. It's a year-round destination. That's where probably the prices are increasing like crazy. But in rural areas, we are seeing something else, that there are like lots of underused facilities and prices are low, unless it's high season.
So that means it depends.
Yeah.
It depends where you go.
It depends.
If you go to Engiadina or if you go to other places. Okay, we want to wrap up, and just a short round. Where do you travel next? Just one word, Rolf. Where do you travel next?
Land?
Finland, maybe.
Ah, Finland. Okay, Claire.
We're for America next week, actually. So.
I will go to the European Co-working Conference to Porto for a week.
I don't know yet.
Italy next week, and then to Greece.
Exactly the same.
I thought about that. Thank you very much. I will be in France. And, yeah. Okay, just to wrap up, Rolf, you have. Okay, okay. Do you have something from Zoom? Questions or?
Yes, there's one or two
Still?
more questions.
Okay, we will answer that
Maybe we can answer
later.
in the chat later
Okay.
or via email.
Yeah, and
a few days later,
okay,
so.
that's great. Thanks, Mona. Okay, let's wrap up. Thank you very much for coming to the conference. It was the 6th conference of Digital Nomads Switzerland, and thank you very much all the keynote speakers. They're not getting a lot of money. It's just 100 Swiss francs. I have to tell you, it's just for the. For the train ride, it's not because of the money. Thank you very much to the sponsors. Thank you very much to fachausweis.online. Thank you very much to Syndicom. That's why we can do that conference. And we will spend that money from the sponsors and from you in the next co-workation. Come to the Traination, come to Ivano, come to the 777 events. You're highly invited. Okay, it's time to wrap up, I think. Thank you very much to the OC team. So this was Mona for social media. Thank you very much. I have a small gift. You can gingerbread. So I learned
How
that
many of
the
these
English
did you
term
buy?
of that. Thank you very much, Rolf.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure working with you, preparing that conference. We don't get any money, we just get gingerbread and a beer after the conference, but it was really a pleasure to organize that together with you. Thank you very much, you as guests here in Bern, and thank you very much to Zoom members,
Online,
and thank you very much, and sorry for the technical issues we had in the beginning, and we got a microphone from our sponsor, from fachausweis.online. He has professional gear, so that's really helpful, and we will use that next time. Okay, what I forgot? Something.
For the aperitif, for the people who are here, I do have some. We're going to have, like, everyone is going to the bar if they want to have a glass of wine or beer or whatever, and then we go up to the rooftop. There is a rooftop overlooking the whole city of Bern, where we take our first course of apero. I don't know where the cook is. I told him to come here to say a few words about the like 8 courses he prepared. Maybe it's only 3 or 4, but yeah, I don't know where he is, but he can also talk to him later. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
I have for the children. I have
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now we need the children
more gifts.
So yeah. One for you, and one for Ella.